Who are these hip hoppers? Why are they called Four Town if there are five of them?
They're a band?
Yeah, they are a band, of course, Ryder. Because we're in Turning Red.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Gosh. I'm your host for today, Crimson Maroon.
I'm a geeky writer.
And I'm Sprinks.
Yeah, and as I said earlier, we got Turning Red. I was very excited to watch this, as you both know.
Where are you now?
I'm sure you guys were as well.
It was on my to-do list, but like always pushed at the end because something more important came up.
It was on your list.
Yeah, well,
Sarcasm aside, I never thought I'd watch this movie, but here we are.
but here we are. Gotta remind ourselves that there are better movies out there than Jurassic World, right?
Yeah, and it definitely fits in that boat of being better. So for this, I guess, episode, I'm going to enact the act structure. So feel free to popcorn within the start, the first scene, to when May is in the car after her transformation.
How many acts are you doing?
Five.
Five, okay.
Acts that I made up that probably don't really make sense to an average person.
I mean, you're host, so.
Oh, don't worry. I'll just judge you quietly.
Oh, feel free to do it loudly. Interject it, whatever you want.
The comment section's there for a reason.
Yeah, to trash us. Do it. All right. So I guess I'll just throw something out in the beginning here. And I'll just do the first scene. Might as well start with that. We get introduced to May, and she's very energetic individual. And I did not like her in the beginning of this at all, from this opening scene of how she does what she wants, wears what she wants, and does cartwheels or whatever her line was. She seemed very self-centered in that regards, which kind of clashes with her, like, following her mom all the time, following her rules.
Mm-hmm.
So it was weird that they both existed at the same time without friction at that point, because later on there's friction built from it.
It's definitely a little odd. I think, like, I remember watching the opening scene with her narrating to us essentially what she's like as a person. It's definitely a very quick way to get information out to your audience. I just typically find it lazy because you typically have to code it with something else. Like, I can use I guess Batman's narration for this one as an example. I think that was more justifiable, especially since you find out that essentially his narration is part of his journal entries. So I think that helps considerably.
Yeah, I mean, that makes it better, of course. I agree, it can definitely be an easy writing shortcut, especially when it's the main character just talking to the screen.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. What, I guess based off her initial introduction, what do you guys think of May?
I was hesitant because I was hoping it wouldn't be narration throughout the whole movie.
Okay.
Because I didn't quite like it.
Yeah, it was. I understand.
It felt fourth wall breaking, which is.
Well, it was.
It's funny.
Okay.
I wrote that down. I said definitely fourth wall breaking.
But it's also the fact that it didn't pop up throughout the whole movie, which makes it just feel jarring at the beginning. Like, why? I guess it's a way to introduce the character and what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that they never really came back to it until, I guess, the very end. But
Yeah, at the end. Yeah.
I think personally, all the traits that she expressed that she had would have been stronger if they were just showed that she had the traits rather than her directly telling us. Obviously, that's probably more challenging because they're trying to rush to a specific focal point. But it was, yeah, it rubbed me the wrong way, just in the sense that, like, it's not the it's not a really strong opening in it for this movie.
I think the stronger part of this opening was the photos.
Yeah, the very, very, very beginning, where she's like helping her parents with some ritual. I think there was a tennis photo, a trophy photograph. But yeah, that was a better way of showing her skill set instead of her having to blurt it out.
Yeah.
Which they also do in her academic success. She's pretty much says she's good at everything she puts her mind to as well.
Yeah. I will say, I'm actually going to compare this to Lightyear since that's Pixar. At least when Lightyear's narrating, Buzz is narrating, he explains his disposition to Hawthorne. So you get his character traits on full display while he's talking to someone, which isn't as fourth wall breaking as this. It's the same kind of tool. I just think Lightyear effectively uses that tool specifically better at the very beginning.
Okay, since both of you don't seem to care for the narration in the beginning of this, and I'm kind of in the same boat, how would you have written this scene in? Because the only characters are in this really are close friends with her, so they would already know all this stuff. So how would you integrate that? In this?
I think it would have just been better for a show not tell, rather than her like explaining everything. Because I think it would be better just kind of without the narration, actually, because later on they kind of go into the like interview section where it's like with the teacher and the kids under the bleachers and Tyler just like, you know, explaining what they think of her. And I think that's good enough, especially from the beginning photos of going through her successes.
Yeah, I mean, if yeah, because they do express her traits a lot. We could have just seen her go through her day. We could have learned that she's excels at her academics, and we could have just jumped straight to her meeting her friends. But if we wanted to have her give a more similar monologue to like let's say the writers really want her to tell us the audience what they're like, well, we can have her with a friend. And she kind of sarcastically explains her disposition in the way Buzz Lightyear did to the Hawthorne in Lightyear. We just do it from the perspective of like they're talking about somebody else. So not necessarily, it doesn't have to be Devin. It could be bully, non-bully boy. I don't remember his name.
Tyler.
It could be they could be even doing it. They could introduce Tyler here. Not necessarily as they can more reference him rather than talk about him. So we haven't met him yet. But that if they really wanted to keep the monologue in, I think that would have been a more, I guess, tame way of doing it rather than having her speak directly to us, the audience. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the scene we got without her just talking would help, kind of like what Spring said. Because we see her all bouncy and bubbly walking down the streets and excited on the bus and everything. So I think it's enough to get a window into her personality already. It's not necessarily all for traits, though, I suppose.
Yeah.
I guess from our groundwork for this film, takes place in 2002 in Toronto, Canada.
Yes,
they should have had a Scott Pilgrim reference in the background. That's all I'm saying. But no,
movie.
It's time for Toronto to drown in the sweet sorrow of turning red.
There you go. Well, the Springs, they could have had like a lineup of like 3 characters in the back, just background people with blue, pink, and red hair.
That would have been enough.
Be like Ramona or something.
Maylin was a teenager in 8th grade.
She was dating a high schooler. Oh no, that's bad. Yeah. I'll popcorn it to one of you guys. What else?
I thought when we get to the title screen with her dancing around it, I unfortunately found that more grating than endearing. I understand why they want her traits on full display, so she's showing that she likes to dance, like around the title of Turning Red. The problem is, I guess, again, it was a fourth wall break essentially as she's interacting with it and things like that, and
Oh,
because
that
of
was
that,
really on the roof of the convenience store. Did you not see that?
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, it's still grating. I I mean, like, and here's the thing: I like dancing as part of your openings because, like, Groot dancing at the beginning of Guardians 2, I always find that opening really amazing. But the problem is that doesn't really break the fourth wall, and it doesn't come across to me as grating, and I don't know how to describe why this one does. I'm just maybe it's because I don't fully
Well,
understand the
it's
character, whereas I'm endeared to Groot because of the previous film. So
well,
I guess
Groot never interacts with any of the credits of the opening credits. As for Mei Lin here, is like eating the Disney productions, I believe,
yeah.
and dancing around and interacting with the Turning Red, uh, I guess, real letters.
Yeah.
So to her, they are there. She can see them.
Yeah. And it's also jump cuts between her dance moves, whereas Groot's dance is more fluid.
Yes.
So one way to, I think, would have been to do this better would have just, you could have had her, with her headphones on, listening to her pop music, because as we know, she is a fan of pop music or a boy band here. And she could have been kind of her dancing her way through Toronto's streets as she walks to school. Like that would have been, I think that to me would have been more, that would have landed better in endearing me to this character.
But where would the title be during that?
Like I said,
I
still, I would say ape directly from Guardians in this case. It could just pop up and catch her in the mid dance move, just have a freeze frame of it.
could be that, but I also think another example would be because she's taking the bus to get to school. It could be like on someone's notebook, or it could be on a billboard.
Yeah, you can do
It,
you can do what Edgar Wright did for Baby Driver. You can put the lyrics and stuff along the walls with spray paint and shit. Like, there's a lot of you can do to keep this idea of your main character dancing,
especially for a cartoon.
especially for a cartoon. Um,
Yeah, I didn't put much thought into the whole title thing. I just let it go.
well, the reason it bothers me is because I want to be endeared to this character. It's your opening like 5 to 10 minutes of your film. You need to endear me to your main character. That way, I feel attachment to something. And while I think I'm eventually endeared to her as a character, that doesn't happen until far later in the movie, which I think is a mistake.
Fair enough.
I have a popcorn thought that I'd like to touch on, which I think was a good, especially to show in the start.
All right.
All right.
One of the photos in the beginning is Malin and her mom, Ming, was it? That's her name?
Yes.
At like tennis with a gold trophy, showing that she's like good at tennis, for a sport. But then when she interacts with Tyler later to throw the basketball, she completely misses.
That's a different skill set.
I just think it's nice to see that she actually does have flaws. She's not perfect.
Mm-hmm.
But she's got the confidence, and that's all that matters.
Yeah.
But yeah, interesting. I didn't even connect those two. Yeah, but she can play the flute very well. Her classmates were very jealous. Looking at all their faces.
You don't really see a band member get a solo flute solo.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what I was supposed to feel with all the band people staring at her. Like they're all looking at her like she's weird. Cuz they're like us in a sense, like she's giving them the same speech she's giving us almost. That's why I thought it was weird. It's very hard to get immersed, I guess.
Well, we also get the point of views of several, I guess, characters. We get the teacher saying that she's enterprising and annoying, which was amusing.
Yep.
A teacher called a student annoying, and then we got the goth girl saying she's a weirdo, and Tyler saying she's an overachieving dork and a narc. So I wonder what she tattletaled on for the narc title.
Well, it was something, because evidently Tyler and her, I mean, that actually lends more credence to Tyler and her having like a kind of a hateful frenemy relationship. Like they don't like each other. But like,
not until the end.
Yeah. Not until the
All
end.
right, yeah. Like they share something together.
Yeah, I guess I'll popcorn from that, and I'll go to the boy band obsession. We kind of get introduced to
In Sync.
yeah.
No,
Backstreet Boys.
Yeah.
It's funny. They call themselves Four Townies, and I'm like, well, that can't be the best name your fandom came up with. But ultimately I was okay with their obsession with the boy band because, you know, I think that's very typical of people who are teenagers. We all obsess over different things, and we're trying to find our identity. So I was perfectly fine with a bunch of teenage girls like nerding out over a boy band or geeking out over a boy band. So
yeah, I think they did a decent job trying to emulate the early 2000s.
Yeah.
We got the boy bands. We got her friend. Was it Priya? Yeah, Priya with the Twilight book, but it was called Nightfall.
Mm-hmm.
The Tamagotchi. So there were a lot of nods to that time in this.
Yeah.
I guess I'll talk about the introduction of her great friends.
Her wonderful
Besties
friends.
assembled in a very, I would assume, anime entry where she bursts open the doors and it does a zoom in and her arms are behind her back and she's got like the sparkly eyes and all that stuff.
Yeah, that's definitely anime related for sure. It felt more JoJo referencing because JoJo does a lot of like, I guess pop out like text to go with their animation. So especially when her friends are being introduced.
Yeah, we get Miriam, her braces friend.
Is that what we're gonna call her?
I mean, what else does she got? What would you want to describe her as?
Let's see.
Skater girl.
Huh?
Skater girl.
I guess.
I think she
Her
has
skateboard had a picture of a Buzz Lightyear or something on it.
Like I think her shirt says skater on it.
Sure. Miriam the skateboarder. We got Priya the emo goth kid friend.
Mm-hmm.
And Abby,
Oh.
the energetic little angry faced girl.
Crimson, you're absolutely right. A sticker of socks is on Miriam's skateboard.
Boo. Sorry.
Easter egg for the feature film. Because this came out before Lightyear, right?
Yeah, this did.
Yes.
Yeah. So.
Now they're really trying to push that film, aren't they?
Well, Pixar puts into their future movies, right? And all that
Yeah,
stuff.
I think so. So I'm not begrudging
Yeah.
them that. It's just that I find it annoying because it's Lightyear specifically.
But
Yeah,
at least they chose songs.
I did not see the Pizza Planet truck. I didn't see A113. I didn't hear John Ratzenberger. I mean, there's.
It's very true.
I probably just missed it all, but.
Well, I definitely didn't see those things.
um,
But yeah, I looked a little bit into this, and regarding the friends, they were very intentional in their design to make them all stand out. In particular, Miriam and her braces, I
Mhm.
guess, was their big point on her. Just Priya's like neutral face the whole time.
yeah.
And Abby always has angry eyebrows. Is what they wanted for Abby, which I didn't really notice until I started watching it again with that knowledge. And like, oh wow, she really does have angry eyebrows even when she's happy.
Yep. I do think all her friends do look distinctive. I think the only flaw that comes with that is the rest of the world doesn't look distinctive because of that. Like everyone else looks very, very flat.
True. Yeah. None of the background really stands out.
Being on the talk of May's friends, I like to go into, I don't know, it's not a color theory, but the reason why their outfits are the chosen colors that they are.
Okay.
All right.
So I think normally what you'd have is, well, I think the one that stands out the most is Abby being purple rather than blue. Because I think in most groups of fouring for colors, it's the primaries and then green. So May being red is connection to Turning Red and the red pandas and everything, so that just makes sense in that regard. I think Miriam being green is the opposite and most complementary to red, which I think fits because they, it's like opposites attract
Yeah.
kind of look, which also I think connects to May's mom, which I also put kind of in the green because she's always with that green jacket. And the reason why she's kind of not a fan of Miriam, but they're both green. So I thought that was a nice little connection there. Priya being yellow is another primary like red, but their attitudes are very different. May's very more energetic, as Crimson you said earlier, and Priya's very neutral. So they're both close in that regard, but they have their differences, which are shown. And then Abby being purple is a color to be connected to red, which I think matches because they're both probably Abby and May are probably the most energetic in the group.
Okay. I kind of have something that can bolster that opinion. During an interview, one of the people who made this, I don't remember their position, but the mom having a green jade outfit was intentional because they wanted a complementary color to May's vibrant red, and she's a panda and all that, showing how they're opposites in that regard. I didn't see anything on the Friends colors, but assuming that they paid attention to two characters, they probably paid attention to all of them. And apparently, and I kind of saw this on the second watch through, the house, like May's house, has
The temple?
particularly the house, not, but
Okay.
yeah, I guess inside the house, there's a lot of green stuff. Her bedroom's got green walls, and they did that to show that her mom's overbearing her in her safe place. Meanwhile, at school and at the convenience store, it's poppy and she can be whatever she wants.
Mhm.
So I guess that was interesting attention to detail on their parts that I didn't really catch.
Well, I guess that kind of also matches with this might just be a really dumb reaching out there, but the temple itself is, the red wood with the jaded green roof. So it's like the mom's always overlooking her.
Maybe. I know the temple's based off a real temple in North Carolina. So I don't know if that was the color scheme of that temple or not.
Really, North
Could be.
Carolina. All right.
I know. Not what I expected.
Yeah, no, it really wasn't.
I think it was North Carolina. It was Carolina or Dakota. It was a north one of those. I didn't write it down.
North Montana.
A north state between. And let's see, what else would I want to pop up? I guess we can go to her temple duties. She's a responsible daughter at this point. At home, she works at the temple, which is, I guess, a tourist attraction for them. It's the oldest temple in Toronto. I don't remember if they said all of Canada, but I think it was specifically Toronto. They said,
Hmm.
I believe that's right.
and
Like this
yeah,
I think this is also, I think, very clear that she was this to me is what made it clear that she lives a very ordered life, like under her mother. Not necessarily because she voluntarily lives under her mother most of the time, at least up until that point. And you get to see how her friends react when they invite her out to karaoke, and she kind of turns them down.
yeah, it's cleaning day every day, but I
Yeah.
love cleaning.
Also, not to go. Sorry to push it, but I was just another thing that points out to me a connection between Ming, the mom, and May is they only each have one article of the other's color on them, which I thought was interesting.
Didn't notice.
May only has the hairpin, the green hairpin, and Ming has the red necklace.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's something they thought of intentionally or not, but interesting observation nonetheless. Yeah, I mean, we see that she enjoys doing stuff with her mom. Which makes her rebellious side a little strange to me later,
Yeah.
because
It does.
She never showed signs of it being overwhelming or stressed because of the pressures of her mom. That's never shown here. She enjoys it all.
Yeah, she takes it all in stride, which, yeah, it is a little bit incongruent with the whole she is her own person rebellious phase that both in the I'm my own person thing in the beginning and her rebellious phase later on. So yeah.
Well,
I-
I think her friends kind of answered that by saying she was brainwashed. So I
Yeah,
think
was about
when
to
she
say that, but I
said
had that
like
throwaway line.
yeah, when she said, you know, I can wear what I want, do what I want, kind of thing, is like all under what her mom accepts. So it's like I can wear what my mom accepts, but it's like it's not one set outfit every day, all planned. It's like, oh, here's the things you can do, which is her sense of freedom. So she's like, oh, my mom is real happy cleaning and
It might be
enjoys
that
my company doing it.
it might
So,
be that she's like just sheltered, and that's what I took that line to mean. So it's kind of an offshoot of that, but yeah.
I mean, I guess. But, yeah, I guess since we brought up the brainwashing bit, we'll talk about that scene a little bit. You could see your friends all dance and sing. They're really into it. Even the Priya, the emo kid.
Yeah. I mean, she is dancing, so you know.
Yeah, and Miriam gives May a Four Town CD. That's for the name of the band. Four Town, and from 1999.
Ba-da-ba-da.
Yeah, obviously a burned CD, which was a thing
Yeah.
back then.
It's-
Not so much nowadays. Who
Yeah.
uses CDs? Probably just me. Do you guys use
But
CDs?
we all
anymore?
know you're old, Crimson. It's okay.
a couple CDs.
I guess you do use them in the car springs. Do you use them outside of a car?
Sometimes, yeah. There's a player
Trying to
nearby.
remember the last time I used a CD. I actually do. I still use a few games, obviously, but for like bands and stuff. I think I do have a couple CDs. For like an old player that I used to bring on airplanes with me and stuff before iPods existed.
But being a 20-year difference from our current time set to this movie's time set.
Yeah.
Technology changes.
So besides the CZ Crimson, you had more.
For that scene, not really. Kind of establishes what we already talked about with the whole cleaning and enjoying what her mom has her do. As
All
a
right,
whole,
in that case, I'd like to take over and discuss a scene that I think might be one of my favorite scenes in this movie.
okay, I'm glad I didn't steal it from you.
The dad making dinner.
Yeah, this is an anime reference right here.
Wow.
This is 100% anime reference because, sexy fucking cooking shots right there.
Like, man, did this
Chef's
look good.
kiss.
I mean, I know Pixar has their experience with Ratatouille, but whew.
Yeah,
It was a long time. We've gotten far past those visuals.
yeah. it was good. I like the anime reference here because that's anime is well known for how their food looks pretty much because it looks way better than real food all the time, and they nailed it. Fucking loved it.
What was he making there? Some dumpling or something?
He was making something stir fry, and then he was making
Yeah.
dumplings as well.
Okay, stop. You know me, I'm a food connoisseur, so I of course knew that they were dumplings.
Sure, Crimson.
Yes. Well, while he was cooking, Ming and May were watching television, and I didn't really catch what they were watching, but it was some sort of drama.
It came across to me as it was just a
Soap opera.
soap opera.
Probably soap opera, yeah. Showing that the family's got a television show. They have family time outside of work and chores.
Yeah, I
Which is,
kind of going on the color theory really quickly. Just want to point out that Dad is wearing all white for most of the movie, or white shirt most of the movie.
True.
he's every color. He's every emotion. He just doesn't show it. Yeah, and we see. I think May was making the dumplings, the dough, wrapping them right, and putting powder on them.
Yeah. While she was watching the show too, so she was multitasking.
And we get a Town commercial or ad talking about tickets are on sale, but they didn't say when or where in the.
They
Yeah,
said
it just
North
said-
America, and they're in Canada.
Well, Canada's in North America.
yeah.
That is true.
North America's a continent.
No,
so
you got
our
me
viewers
there.
know. Yeah, and I mean, Ming's like, who the heck would like these guys? He's like, well, there's some students in school that like them. And it's great deflect, I guess.
Yeah. Is this where the mom judges Miriam as like Miriam's friendship with her
Yes.
as well? Okay.
Yeah, I don't remember specifically what she said about Miriam, but no, she said she was odd. Miriam was an odd girl. I don't know what really made that pop up.
Yeah.
I guess just bringing up school students. She got Miriam. But yes, Miriam, odd person. I think Abby's the odd one out of those three. But Miriam seems pretty normal out of them. Even in regards to May, I guess May outside the house.
Yeah,
Energetic May.
I'd agree with that.
I guess for some groundwork for later in this film, we get a prayer bit at the temple, worshiping Sun Yi,
Yes.
because this temple worships their family, not just dudes, might I add, and not gods, which they specified during a tour, which I think was a good way of bringing that up without having to narrate it through May,
Yeah.
like the other
Yes.
stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because they've now dropped that.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, temple business seems to be doing good overall. I know this temple room is a direct one-to-one comparison to the temple reference I brought up earlier. Because the rest of it's referenced, but that one's like a direct remake, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I like how the temple looks overall. It's interesting that Sun Yi's the big showcase one. I thought the whole wall would be full of ancestors, kind of like in Shang-Chi, in that like memorial area.
Oh yeah, when and they arrive at the new village and stuff.
Mm-hmm. So when they talk about honoring ancestors, I was expecting something like that.
Not
But,
not the hologram
let's see.
trees like from Star Trek Discovery.
Yeah, yeah, like that. Like the Sirius Black wallpaper.
All right, I'm gonna popcorn.
Okay.
Let's go to the nightmare.
God, there is some nightmare fuel in that. That's for sure.
What was happening there?
Devin as a
Bes-
freaking sardine.
Yeah,
Flopping.
besides the red pandas, which is understandable of what's happening, everything else that's shown is interestingly used. Why? I mean, Devin is the mermaid to the piece of sushi, and then
Four Town is
I'm
one
gonna,
of
I'm
the
gonna be.
creepiest flowers I've ever seen in my
Yeah,
life.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't remember puberty being this thick. Later, I don't think my dreams got this layered.
there was like a donkey
An ass?
Yeah, yeah.
and a worm cut in half or something.
Yeah,
very
I
odd.
cannot interpret those.
Yeah,
at
it
all.
was. It was a very overbearing visual sequence. My only interpretations was, more or less womanhood. I assumed that this was her growing up and well, because they leaned heavily into the menstruation cycle symbolism. So I assumed this was kind of trying to depict that in an imagery way, like a more symbolic way. Because I've seen anime where they've tried to butterflies and flowers are typically used for innocence and womanhood almost in some of the anime that I'm familiar with. I think this is doing the same thing, just giving it a bit of a dark twist.
So the flowers, aka innocence, is corrupted by boys
Yeah,
now.
yeah, that's pretty much like I said. It's supposed to be like that's why I'm assuming this is what it is. It's just it's supposed to be symbolism for womanhood and like the loss of innocence in a way, because that's what this. It's supposed to be a. This movie is ultimately supposed to be a coming of age story. I'm just gonna say it right now. Belle does it better. I can't wait till we get to that. But that's pretty much what I got out of the nightmare sequence, because that's what I understood all of it to mean going in. But I mean then again I kind of guess I knew what I was looking for when that came up, I guess. So how did you you guys
I
didn't
knew
get that?
what they were going for, but I didn't know the direct symbolism with each image.
Neither did I.
Yeah.
So their message came across. I just don't know each message.
I mean, I got a bunch of unintentional fucking messages from this as well. Women are monsters when they're on their cycle. I don't. That's good. I just imagine a question mark coming up on my head, because my mom did not like this movie, and I asked her like, okay, is this why? But it
was not the takeaway I got, but that is amusing.
Yeah, it was one of the ones like, okay, see, someone will walk away with that is the problem. Yeah, so I got some of it, but it's definitely very, very abstract. A lot of the symbolism during the dream sequence.
Yeah, we get a few dream sequences in this, mostly like daydreams and of Four Town. But like we had one earlier at the convenience store when they first bring up Four Town.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's.
Is this?
I didn't get anything out of that scene, as like I said, I didn't get any of the symbolism directly from an image. Just it being there and being read, and we know what happens the next day.
Yeah. I guess before we cover this arc fully, I'm gonna give a shout out to the whole realization that she has a crush on Devin scene. Because I do like that. That to me was probably this is when I felt the most endeared towards May. Because it's something that everyone goes through at some point in their lives, funnily enough. And then I thought it was funny that she just immediately started drawing pictures and shit.
Creep alert. Freaking creep alert. I never drew my crush.
Yeah, I never wrote anything for my crush either. So there's that. But I do. I mean, some people will do that. Like they take the inspiration from that and put it into something else. So we all start somewhere. I thought the realization of her just kind of flopping around her room after she gets up and realizes that she actually likes Devin was very, very human. It's a very exaggerated emotion that everyone feels. So I was amused and I really liked that.
I wrote down that she loved her drawing more than Devin himself. Because I mean, I guess I can understand what you're saying here, but I find it strange that there wasn't really a hint of it with the real Devin, unless she was projecting, which I didn't get that.
Yeah, it was a slow realization. That's the point of the scene. Like she's like, what do they even like about him anyway? And then she starts to think about it, and then as she's thinking about it, that's when she realizes kind of that she's crushing on him essentially.
His shoulders, his arms, his chest, even though she was drawing a not real version of Devin.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Definitely, that's what crushing is a lot of the time. It's in your head, you know. So
I had a different type of crush. I just saw the person for who they were. I am not a teenage girl. It could be different. I don't know.
Fair enough. Yeah.
This movie's very expressive and exaggerated with facial expressions and poses.
Yeah.
And my favorite one was her stressed out, sweaty face.
Yes.
When Ming entered the room.
Yeah, when her mom entered the room.
Yeah.
I agree. And I mean, that's also definitely an anime reference as well. I think you guys got a bit of it from Kamisaga this past few days. So, with the exaggerated expressions and stuff like that, and like momentary thoughts.
Yeah, her stressing out. Like, don't look at the notebook. Don't look at the notebook. Looks down for a fraction of a second, and then Ming looks down like, "Oh, is this your homework? Oh my god, what is this? May. Oh my god."
Yeah. Mom jumps very quickly to conclusions.
Did this boy do this to you? Oh god. No, I could be different between you two, but I like May a lot in this. No, Ming a lot in this movie. There's definitely bad parts. Like
I don't like. I'll be honest.
but-
I like her character. She's very well characterized, and obviously I wouldn't want her as my mom. But I like her character. So yeah, for the most part, I think I do like her.
I agree. I think she fits her role very, very good.
Right. Yeah. Well, I guess might as well go on the next scene with that because it's kind of a big one as well. And Crazy by Ming.
Oh yeah. Like I said, really jumps to conclusions. Like, I mean, doesn't wait for an explanation, doesn't hear her May out. She just goes right for it.
I mean, good job, May, on her drawing skills for Ming to even notice that it was from the store.
Oh yeah, easily figured that one out.
That hat, which is true. What teenage boy, specifically 17 as Devin is, wears that hat?
A bucket hat?
Even in 2002.
In 2002, I might have been that kid. Unfortunately, if I were Devin's age at that time, unfortunately, knowing my uncles, I would have probably been caught dead wearing that.
I don't think I've seen anyone under 50 wear a bucket hat in real life.
I definitely have seen people under 50 wear bucket hats.
I do occasionally,
What about a
and I'm
teenager?
under 50.
Yes.
In a public setting?
Me?
Do you not know what some people in California wear?
Yeah,
I grew up in California.
I grew up in California.
No.
That's why I wore bucket hats.
That makes more sense for a writer. Like I said, personal experience, I haven't seen it. But yeah, she just walks. Oh, should you?
I was just gonna say, I think it's a little bit too much on the nose, or a little too far that Tyler was there when this all occurred.
That was a little convenient.
That's true.
It is a convenience. It is a convenience store with a convenient plot point.
Yeah, Tyler would be there at night for no particular reason. Devin, what hours does he have? Yeah.
Yeah, brutal hours.
Actually, yeah, he must not be in school anymore, right? He's 17, but he was there when they walked by, presumably after school. So,
yeah,
I don't think Devin goes to school. What a hooligan! Ming was right.
He does do drugs all day.
Yeah, drugs and no sunscreen. What are you, 30?
But it might be a more accurate reading than we initially thought.
I guess so. There might be some merit. Yeah, so she shows May's drawings, which, man, Ming.
Man.
Read the room here. That's
know.
not what a mom does.
Yeah.
Devin, everyone was shocked, and Tyler freaking loved it. I guess he kept them after this because later he prints them out.
Yeah, I will say one thing I do like about the scene. The one good thing about having Basketball Kid here or Tyler here is because May's basically ruined his basketball because he got run over by a car. I like the fact that when Devin asks who May is, Tyler's like, right here she is. Yeah. I like that he points her out because I'm like, yeah, I would do the same if someone ruined a $50 basketball of mine as well. I didn't, and then that would be it. I would not be. I got my.
Is that his or the school's?
Either way, it's very rude. And we know that there's beef with them from something that you pointed out earlier.
Yeah, she's a narc.
Yeah, so I kind of like that he's getting back at her for that a little bit. It's not super bullyish right now. It's more like, she's just going along.
It was an opportunity. He went for it.
Pretty much, the opportunity presented itself. He wasn't gonna turn it down. So I think Tyler's also very well characterized.
Yeah, I don't know. Any more thoughts on this convenience store?
Nope, not really.
Okay. All right. Well, there isn't much left to cover before the Panda, unless anyone's got anything else before that. I'm going to bring up the Panda next.
I'm going to quickly scroll through my notes. Da-da-da-da-da.
Scroll sound.
Do. Yeah. I thought with because of the whole, I left a note here. I think the movie is infinitely better if we imagine that the whole scene of everyone, like the exaggeration of everything, is because it's all from May's perspective. So it's kind of like in her head. I wrote that as a note to follow the convenience store scene because she shows off the drawings. Everyone reacts and laughs, and because like everyone teleports behind the counter pretty much to look at the drawing.
Yeah.
So I assumed, maybe not everyone saw them, but May imagined everyone saw them. I thought to me that helped the scene a little bit.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
Makes more sense than a bunch of random people at a store hurtling behind a counter.
Yeah.
To look at a teenage girl's drawing. Yeah.
I ended up leaving that as a note there because I think that actually, because it's from a young teenage girl's perspective with an overbearing mom. And she's put in a very, very highly stressful situation, so she would not remember this scene correctly or remember this traumatic event, I guess. Because everything's traumatic when you're that age. So I wrote a low note down that I think the movie's better if we imagine things like that are from May's imagination, specifically. But yeah, that's my last note.
For that scene. All right, I'll bring it up. After the nightmare we discussed, May wakes up and doesn't realize that she's a bear immediately.
She didn't
Actually,
realize it's
red
like
pandas
she's
aren't bears,
5.
right? There's
They're
something
they're
else.
they're pandas. Quite literally, it's in the name.
Well, there's a lot of animals that have names that aren't what they are. Either way, I wrote down in my notes, even if she didn't see her hands and feet, she would notice that height.
Yeah.
That's freaking massive. She even hits her head on the lamp on her ceiling.
Yeah, I mean, like, don't get me wrong, I'm super discombobulated when I wake up from a very, very dream animated night of sleep. But, damn.
Yeah, that's pretty out there. And she goes in the bathroom, freaks out. Oh my god, I'm a, what did she say? Gross red monster. And both Ming and Jin are out with breakfast. And Ming runs up, freaks out, asks a bunch of questions like it's constipation, cramps, all that nonsense.
Yeah. And I love that in the background you can see Jin sneak one of the sugar cookies he was denied. And then he also, like, his reaction, his characterization is very subtle because he doesn't get a lot of screen time. But even in the background, you can see like the different emotions that go through him, and I thought they were wonderful.
Yeah, even when Ming said, "Did the red peony bloom?" He started backing up.
Yeah,
and
he's like,
away.
he's like, oh.
Not my talk. Yeah, and we had the whole, I guess, period talk between Ming and Mei.
Both through the door and when she's in the restroom.
Your pedals, which was an interesting line.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all for normalizing this talk because we don't. It's not really, even in health class. I remember from high school and middle school, they never really delve into like how, I guess, to deal with it. I'm gonna put this in quotes. So I kind of like the mom really, really normalizes it here, and then obviously this is going to get ruined later, but I guess I like that in concept. And it also really kind of hammers home the metaphor of the dream sequence.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah. So May is in the shower. She says she's a big, gross red monster.
And this is
Ming didn't click with that.
Yeah.
I know it could have been interpreted as period, but she should have had at least an inkling of a thought right there. My family for generations, including myself, turned into a giant red panda at about this age.
Yeah, nah. I can agree with that. This is also the point in the story where I cracked a joke saying, well, what I asked my mom was like, is this a story about women becoming monsters when they're on their menstrual cycle? So I'm like, I don't know if I should take that as a sexist like symbolism from the story, or if that's just a strange interpretation that they unintentionally came away with in the film.
Definitely going to go with unintentional.
Yeah.
Sprinks, anything in this whole Panda introduction?
No, two of you covered pretty much very well of all of it.
And Ming leaves her stressed out daughter because her porridge was, I guess the alarm was going off for her porridge.
Yeah, Jen, come on, where are you? This is like, you should be doing this. There's important things happening.
He made dinner dumplings. Ming makes breakfast.
Yeah, but when your household's an emergency, you take over for things that when your spouse is busy.
Yeah, and before Ming even enters the bathroom, May tried to go through the window as well.
Yeah,
she tries to run away a lot in this.
Yep. Yeah, she doesn't try. She succeeds.
Yeah, later. Which is going to be a talk of its own.
Yeah. May is given extra food and tea to help deal with period cramps when she's dropped off at school. Because
yes. Because
Oh,
it'll
no.
help loosen up, and then okay, bye, mom.
Yeah.
Comes around.
Yeah.
I guess the last thing I guess in this first act I want to bring up is how she turned back into May.
Mm-hmm.
She tried to sleep the panda away, didn't work, and she just went into like a zen calm state and brushed her face and all that, and then her ears went away, and then the panda went away. What are your guys' understanding of why parts disappear or appear independent of each other?
It's a softcore magic system, so I don't think I need to understand it because I don't.
Okay, like are ears tied to a specific emotion and the tail's tied to something, or I don't know.
I don't.
I don't know if they
think
put any
so.
thought.
I
into
don't.
it.
I don't think there was. I don't think there was enough to convey that in the film. If that's what their intention was, then I don't think there was enough to convey it.
Okay, that's just thought I had. Oh, and I looked it up. Red pandas are not bears; they're raccoons.
Oh, nice.
All right. Well, that's it for Act One. Unless you got anything else with you two.
Act 1 is when she gets out of the car for school.
Yes.
Let's see. Yeah. All good.
Okay. Springs. Anything else?
No.
All right. Well, Act Two is from the car to when the grandma is on the phone with Ming. Popcorn away.
Boy. Okay. I actually one of the small things I liked when they first kind of walk back into when she first walks back into school. I like that one of her friends gives her deodorant because that's just true friendship right there. You're having a bad day, and your friend
And
just
she lathers it up all over her face and neck and stuff.
yep. But like I
Kind
said,
of gross though.
it's a bit gross, but true friendship right there. I mean, if your friend's willing to do that for you, they're a good friend.
Would you guys share your deodorant?
I've had to before, so it's not really a matter of choice.
Sure.
No, I wouldn't.
I don't think I have, but
Yeah, and we also Abby's like, "Oh man, you smell. Did you work out at the gym this morning?"
Yeah.
So she just turned into a panda. She went like full puberty. She instantly got the smell problem.
Yeah.
She
Bad hair day.
immediately-
As a call.
Yeah, she puts a hat on to cover her new red hair. She immediately crushes on this goth kid that just walks by. What's his name? Carter or something? Started with a C. But yeah, every puberty thing happens. Flip of the switch to her. Very unfortunate.
Yeah. I guess the scene reminded me just a little bit of the whole Into the Spider-Verse scene where Miles Morales wakes up the following day from having been bit by a spider, and he's like, "I think I hit puberty," because he's like taller in his pants, and then he goes to school and has a very awkward day.
Mm-hmm.
It reminded me a bit of that, so I thought that was. I think mostly this was a good scene because they do cover a lot really quickly.
Yeah, and they test her new stress levels with them talking about Tyler, telling everybody about Devin. We haven't seen the posters yet, but and she's keeping it cool. No parts popping out yet. But we might jump back to that later. Sprinks, do you have anything to popcorn?
yeah. The dad saying that this is already, this has happened. Seeing May as the panda gave me big Teen Wolf vibes.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen
Because the parents knew of this the whole time when the kid's going through it thinking it's a curse or a big problem.
it. Okay.
Also, the fact that May turns into a red panda and doesn't really as a teen and going through this, never really comes up with the thought of connecting it to the temple of honoring red pandas her whole life.
Yeah, it's
That's true. I didn't think about that.
that's a bit of a problem. Um,
Yeah, and how do you guys feel about them not telling her? Just right from the get-go.
Not telling. Well, they didn't really know until they found her in the room, right? To actually talk to her.
well, her mom
No,
explodes
the
at
family
the
curse
school.
has been around for
Oh,
generations.
okay. You just mean like eventually at an age you'll turn into a panda.
Yeah. I know it's supposed to be like a reference to like periods and all that stuff, and you wouldn't tell that to a 6-year-old. But this is a panda transformation here, so I feel like that's safe to talk about.
Leans too hard into the metaphor. You think?
I think that's what they're going for not telling her.
Well,
But-
without telling her,
yes, I would say
she
so.
goes on this whole panic spree, and which really sets the tone of her character in the movie without knowing. But I feel like if she did know, and even though being like, oh, it's just a story or it's fake or whatever, by the time she does turn, she'd have a very smaller panic and then go, oh, it wasn't a story after all, and then go straight to her parents.
I know, precisely. There would be no problems if they had told her
Yeah.
earlier.
As it turns out, communication solves a lot of our problems in this story.
Yeah, and they didn't really justify not telling her.
Mhm.
Their only justification was Ming saying that she thought she'd see the signs. Which I don't know what signs that would be, other than I guess just teenage signs, which
I
Ming
think
has
she-
kept from her, like the love of boy bands.
I
and all that
imagine the
stuff.
bright red hair would be a very, very obvious sign.
Well, she had a hat on.
Yeah, exactly. She hit it. So
Yeah.
if she saw the red hair, I'm pretty sure her mother might have noticed. At least in theory, that's pretty much my guess, because that's really the only physical attribute about May that changes, right? Is she just gets the red hair.
I believe so.
So
Yeah.
I think that would be the only obvious sign then that something's happened or is about to happen.
Yeah, the hair and I guess her mood swings. That could be tied to the period stuff as well.
Yeah.
That was a fine, I guess, parent scene. Could have been better.
Yeah.
Should have been earlier in her childhood.
Yeah. I am gonna popcorn us back to mom going to school and
Okay.
making a deliberate, like, this is normal. So I have no idea why she doesn't just go to the front office and just deliver them there. Because that also
'Cause
skips.
She wants to watch her daughter like a hawk.
Yeah.
Don't know. That's
Yeah.
what they said at some point.
Yeah, it's still bad. Like, I mean, even if she wanted to watch her daughter like a hawk, you still could have just walked into the fucking front office to deliver your daughter's pads, and then, have left to go spy on her. So you ensured a way that she's going to get them. Because this is just a mess of a scene, I think, when the mom shows up and kicks off the whole chase
It's
sequence.
another example. Go ahead, Trace.
I was just gonna say, even the security, like, school guard comes out to just say, like, hey, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Essentially, he's like, come with me, get this easily sorted. And then she just assaults him.
Yeah,
Just pokes him and kicks him.
I know. Poor security guard does not get paid enough to deal with her.
Yeah, another example of Ming not, I guess, knowing social norms. Because at the convenience store, she shows the papers. Here, she screams and shouts. It shows
And
her
lets it all
entire
out.
class about the pads. And like, oh my god, Ming,
Yeah.
come on.
Yeah, and I do think that's an issue with her character, because she would absolutely know social norms if she's giving tours every day.
No, I'm sure every single mom at that temple just keeps bringing up secrets about their child.
No, I'll save it. I'll save it for later.
Alright.
This scene connects to another scene later that I'll discuss when that one comes up.
Okay, fair
Yeah.
enough.
Yeah, I was really annoyed by the scene because it's not some top secret stealth mission. Like, the most normal idea in the world is just to deliver the pads to the front office, but this is just here for the sake of embarrassment and stress-induced drama in order to trigger the panda.
Yeah. The panda in front of everybody.
Yeah, in front of everyone. And is it weird that she catcalls Devin when she's a panda, like from outside the convenience store?
I freaking hated that.
I,
I broke double standard on that scene. Because that would not fly today if it was a dude. Just throwing that out there. But yeah, I guess from a story standpoint, she was stressed and running, so I don't know why she would just stop to stare at Devin at this point.
Man, those, like I said, hormones are a bitch.
I don't know. This whole chase scene, I don't like at all because it doesn't make sense at all.
I don't like it either. That's pretty much it for all I've got to say about it.
What I do like in this chase scene is that Ming, the mom, actually takes her shoes off to go chase a monster.
Yeah, as it turns out, she's not running away in heels from a dinosaur. It's kind of nice.
That's what I was. And a T-Rex for sure now. May as a panda running through the halls of school into the bathroom, where Stacy says, "Oh my gosh," when she sees a red panda. May opens the bathroom window and climbs out. Opens a school bathroom window. I don't think that those are ever unlocked.
I'm trying.
In 2002.
No.
I'm trying to think. I think I have opened windows at school.
Well, bathroom windows specifically. Those, there's no way those are unlocked.
That's.
So the simple fix for me would have just been her jumping through the window, or something. Having it unlocked.
It's a little weird.
Stupid. And her running away from her mom is stupid because on the rooftop when she's running, she says she wants to go home and hide. Like, who are you hiding from? Your mom? Because mom's going to be there, and mom's following you, trying to help you.
That's
so
true.
why are you doing this whole chase scene? I don't get it.
Also, she makes a devastating mess of the house.
Mess of the town.
Beyblades,
I'm just thinking the house. She didn't go to a room. She destroyed like the living room and the kitchen, which is not on the straight path down the hall.
Yeah.
Every piece of furniture was touched on the way to that bedroom.
Yeah, and the entire city was also left a mess behind her.
Yeah, I don't know why she climbed a ladder. Even if I was a 13-year-old kid, even if I turned into a giant bear raccoon, I would not climb a ladder up a building. It's not something I would have done.
I don't know. I think her priority would be to go home because I don't think that helps her get home.
No,
because am I remembering the movie incorrectly? The way she was running to climb up the ladder is the opposite direction she needs to go to get home.
Yes. It's a slight detour.
Yes.
Okay.
Not way out of the way, but it's a little bit out of the way. It's incredible that Ming kept up with her, regardless.
And like I said, you turn into a superpowered human being when you take your heels off to run.
I don't know how she kept track of her. May went through in between a building at one point, squeaking through.
Yeah,
she had a head start on Ming
by a fair bit
because of the car. So good on Ming. She had to run pretty far to get to the temple from when she took off her heels and ran.
Yep.
Yeah, and we see Mr. Gao on his balcony with May jumping over him, which at the time I didn't really think anything of, but second time like, oh yeah, so he actually knows what that is at this point with his shocked face.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I have a popcorn to go to, which I thought was an interesting thing that they added. when Maylin's trying to destroy the, I guess, tapestry of the ancestor, and a lamp from above just falls.
Mhm.
Just a singular one lamp. What did the two of you think that was added for?
Didn't think anything of it.
I did not think anything of it either.
Oh, well,
I don't know if those
being-
lamps have significance
being-
in Chinese culture. You know?
Oh, to me, especially for an animation, because in live action, if it fall, and it's like, okay, that was their purpose of doing it. Animation, they did, frame by frame animating to make it happen, so it was definitely intentional, and it was not just a skip scene, so it had a purpose to be there somehow. My thought was maybe May is maybe a little foreshadowing that May is different from the rest of like all the family and ancestors. If the lamps are to indicate all the, past family members, and that May, later down the line is deciding not to get rid of the panda.
Yeah, I could buy that as an intention for symbolism. It's very, very light, so obviously you can interpret it any way you want. But yeah, it makes some sense to me.
I could believe it if it was stated by the director or something. I could believe it.
I mean, I guess
Well,
next
Is there
to
anything else to popcorn?
next thing
Oh,
next to the popcorn, I would popcorn to is probably the explanation of the magic system, I guess, or like why it's a family curse and how it's normal.
Mhm.
So I guess when the parents find her, that'd probably be what I'd jump to. I is it's I it's is it a blessing passed down like genetically, or is it a like family curse that just happens to trigger?
Well, it was a gift bestowed upon by the god.
Yes.
The specific god that bestowed it. And it's passed down to every woman once she hits maturity.
Hmm.
So I guess it's genetic as well at this point. It's been through generations.
Hmm.
But you have to hit a checkpoint in your life to unlock it.
Yeah.
I don't know. The reasoning for Sun Yi to get the panda powers was a little weird. Because all men were off to war, and there was no one in her village to protect everyone. And she loved nature, and specifically the red panda, and she prayed to become a red panda.
Yeah,
And
that's a
it
little
was
odd.
granted.
It's a little odd. I figured if you want to protect your village, you'd want to become something a little more fierce, in theory.
Yeah, or just have a god protect your village.
Yeah, that
You
would be
don't have
nice.
to be turned into anything for that. So it was a little weird. Nothing I'll say that, like breaks anything, but it's just a weird choice.
Mhm. I like the contrast in the scene where the new room that May ends up in. I don't know if that's her room, they just moved everything out, or they moved her to a specific room.
I think I had different wallpaper, so I think it was a different room.
Okay. It's very sad because there's nothing in there, pretty much.
There's a mattress and Wilfred, her stuffed dog.
Yep.
I thought that was her room.
And
I mean, like I said,
we
that's
have
what
two
that's what I
pictures
asked.
of. Do we have a picture of that room and her room? So okay.
Let's see. I'm gonna look it up really quickly. No, that's not what I wanted.
Because I was only gonna say, because her friends come to visit her at the room I would presume that they know is her room.
That's true.
If it's her room, I don't know where all of her junk went.
Yeah, I don't know why they would move everything out of her room, which is a bit weird. No, it is her room. Yeah, you're right. I could see the similarities in the wallpaper.
I find that worse.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Yeah,
That's her room.
That's weird. Yeah. Now that we know that I know it's her room, they moved everything out of it. That is a little odd.
Yep, don't like that. No, no, no. But since you brought up the friends, that was going to be my popcorn moment. Specifically when Abby, I wrote waterboarded or motorboated.
Shit. Jesus Christ.
Wow,
That's what
Kristen.
happened. That's what happened. She's like, "You're so fluffy," and then freaking just rubs her face in her. She's still your friend. How weird is that? How weird is that? And that's another thing I bring up later during Tyler's party where people are riding her and stuff. Like, she's still a person, right? That's weird.
I'm taking that a different direction now for metaphors.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. I think Spriggs got it.
My innocent mind.
It's a kids movie.
I know,
It's a Pixar movie.
but it's a coming of age movie.
They had a Twilight book nod.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, motorboarding Abby, strange, and what was the goth kid again?
I do like the reaction to reaction to Lowell May to open the window for them to let her in, and they all freak out, and then she just drags them in, and
And
They
Oh,
all-
she breaks all
suffocates
the
them.
backs.
yeah,
going through the window.
100%. They're dead. Shocker. Man, this kids movie got really violent really quickly.
And Priya looked at her tail and was like, "I always wanted a tail." I'm like, of course you would, Priya. Because she also asked because she's a werewolf, so more Twilight nods for Priya.
Mm-hmm.
But they're all very understanding and very for this transformation.
Yeah. Very supportive friend group, ultimately, once they figure out that it's her. And I actually kind of like that.
Yeah, they even sing to make her feel better.
Mhm.
She joins in.
I'm surprised
Like
Ming didn't just
the
storm into the
four-tailed
hall,
songs.
but it's fine.
We find out that the concert's on May 18th.
Yes.
I wrote in my notes, why did they pick May if they have a character named May? Like,
Not spelled the
you could
same.
have picked anyone.
Yeah.
Interesting choice.
One more detail I like about that scene is I like that Miriam looks sad and shocked when she finds out that May's mom doesn't like her.
Yeah, when she gets kicked out. Mom doesn't like me? Window shuts.
Yep.
Yeah, I also wrote in my notes that how did the mom not hear that?
Yeah, I wrote that too. I'm like, that was a little weird because I think Mom would be a hawk right now. Like, she would absolutely hear and notice that.
Oh, they were
Okay.
singing,
That's
Wow.
very true. Singing, laughing, all these noises.
screamed outside.
I got something that's a bit weird.
Okay.
Abby, they're all supportive, and Abby is energetic and everything, but May points to her arm
Yes.
and indicates and taps her arm to tell Abby, "Hey, hit me, here."
me. Yeah.
And Abby punches her in the face.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, I love that. That was funny. I mean,
And,
the goal was to shock her, right? Like, that was the point of her ass to hit her.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
That's when she realizes, oh, you're my friends, and you guys can stop the panda from coming out.
Yep.
But yeah, that was actually funny. I like that.
It was definitely. I'll grant you, it's a little bit odd, but I'm used to gags like that, so I rolled with that one.
In a realistic setting, like if it was live action, I'd be like, wow, that's strange. But because this is an animation, I think it fits.
Yeah, it's very bombastic. I mean, even if it was live action, as long as the character work is done, I'd believe it there too. Absolutely, Drax
not for
would
me.
punch Star-Lord in the
It's
face
okay.
if Star-Lord asked him to hit him in the arm.
No, that's different though. I just figured for friends being supportive and accepting her as this panda thing now, just punching her in the face. It's a bit of a stretch.
Yeah, it's definitely oddly
Even to
placed.
make that,
It would have been
Yeah,
great
even
if
to
she had
make
a
that
shine
shock.
by the end of it.
Yeah. All right.
Springs, you got anything to popcorn from there?
Popcorn to Mean on the phone with the grandma,
Oh, okay.
and how she acts around her mom.
Yep.
Yep. And yeah, I wrote my notes during the phone call as Captain Giorgio is her mom's mom. That's what I wrote down specifically in my notes.
I don't think it is.
I'll look it up right now. Keep talking.
Okay. I think the grandma's the Asian lady from Daredevil. I don't know if I've seen that writer, but yeah, I didn't really write much down for that. I liked how Ming shut down. Her walls got shattered immediately there, and definitely built their relationship immediately. You could definitely see the dynamic between those two. And I'm glad that they established that the news caught wind of a giant red panda roaming the streets of Toronto.
Be kind of hard to miss.
Yeah, which kind of brings up another issue where the government intervention is. Because they definitely could have tracked through cameras where the panda ended up at the Red Panda Temple. So it would have been interesting if they had like some government agents show up or something. Because we see at the end that they do have to pay for the stadium that got wrecked. So someone's keeping them in line for paying for the damages. Just wish we saw a little bit of that in this. Did you have anything to elaborate on that, Springs, since you brought it up?
No, just.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just wanted to bring it up. I'll bring up we can, I guess, stress test with the deforestation, the shatter orangutan, and her second place spelling bee trophy. Deforestation was a weird one. I feel like they could have picked something else.
I guess she's an environmentalist. Yeah.
I mean, even that, I don't think a photo of deforestation would cause you emotional distress to turn into a panda.
Well, it was their first test image, right?
Yeah.
So it's like if you're not able to grasp deforestation, it's like, well, the rest of them you're not going to get past.
I guess they could have started with a low scale. Look at Satorangatang. How did she not all on that one?
Well, Mo Crimson, she's not you, so.
God, I just love my orangutans. They're so innocent. And then I wrote my notes for the box of kittens, where the heck they came from,
yeah,
and where the heck they went.
Yep, I wrote the exact same thing when that came up. And she's not Giorgio. I found that out. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry that crushed you a little bit.
Yeah, it makes me a little sad. Yeah. That's okay. She's in
pandas aren't pandas. The grandma's not Giorgio.
Yeah, she's still in everything everywhere all at once. So I'm looking forward to just reliving that movie.
Yeah, I want to watch that movie at some point.
All right.
But yeah, Box of Kittens.
Yeah, that was. I wrote the same. I literally wrote the same things that you did down when it came to like where the hell did they go? Why are they here? How did they get them?
Or was it just a bunch of stray kittens in the streets and they just nabbed them for this test specifically?
Yeah.
Let them back on the town?
Admittedly, kids are very adorable, but I still had questions.
We find out later it's an established test that the other like aunts and grandma have used before. At least that's what I read from it.
Yep.
So it's an interesting choice.
I think it's a good transition from the position the cats were on May to where her friends are in her head, because they line up.
Yes. Yeah,
we love you, May. We'll support you.
That's a neat transition. I agree.
She's just how adorable.
And then I think
Jin Ming shock face.
yeah. And then I think we go from this right into Sprinks' favorite scene, which is the presentation.
It's
Take
just
it away, Sprinks.
well, it was just May does all these things, all this practice. Her parents are proud of her. You know, you're overcoming all this proof, and they immediately, well, not they, but because the dad is very, doesn't want to upset the mom, but doesn't want to say no necessarily and hurt May. So it just immediate shutdown of May wanting to go to Fort Town or see Fort Town.
Yeah, it's a little
And
odd. Overbearing.
They're a bunch of gyrating boys. Of course she's not supposed to go. They use gyrate twice in this one.
And she has examples on her presentation of Mozart and Beethoven.
And Hayden
I don't know
and Copin. Don't forget about them.
Oh, sorry. Is that to connect that they're like Fort Town?
I think
she said she had references and
I think
presentation and sparklers.
I think she was trying to. I mean, I have no idea why she would connect those two, but I think she was trying to make an equivalency in order for her parents to understand how important this is to her. Like, this is how important Beethoven is to society. This is how this is important it is to me, kind of thing.
Well, her excuse, because Bing's like, "Why do you want to go to this concert?" It's like to broaden her horizons and just experience new music.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when Ming's like, "This isn't music. This is filth." And I'm like,
Hot damn.
Correct response by Ming. Filth. And she's like, "Right, Jin?" And he's like, and that's funny because that's a dad thing, right? Where the mom just continues on, like the husband supporting their opinion. I found that funny.
Yeah, I honestly like the fact that the dad was more willing to let her go first, and then Ming kind of shuts him down.
Yeah, he asks, "Should we trust her?"
Yeah.
Not about trusting her, it's about trusting those boys. Which is kind of a dumb argument because
yeah,
they're at a concert. What are they gonna do?
Like I said, I do like again. I love the characterization of the parents, but I did find Ming to be a little bit overbearing here. And granted, I know she's portrayed that way specifically, but yeah, it was. I don't know. I will say it was within her character. I guess I just didn't personally like it.
Yeah, I was pretty much fine with the scene overall. I didn't like how May was kind of panicking and not even a panda ear or tail pops up during it. Because there's several times in this where she has extreme emotion and no panda. But then there's times where she can activate the panda instantly or get rid of it instantly with such control.
Yeah,
so
like she can control 100%
kind of
now.
inconsistent.
It's going from 0 to 100 and able to control it, I think is what they meant by what was established, but I do think it was a little fast. It would be more reason for them to turn her down if she got, a little distraught at being turned down. And then, a panda part appears and stuff like that. I think that would have actually improved the scene a little bit for me.
Let's see. I guess I'll jump ahead to, homework night for May, which is her excuse to going to Tyler's party. And Ming is full crazy here. I'm double jointed. Look, I can make a circle with my elbow.
Oh God, the look on May's face was hilarious.
Shocking. Very strange. She's like, are you sure you want to come? Are you sure you don't want to hang out with Dad? Jin excited in the background of the table, like, oh my God, I get some wife time tonight. and Ming just pulls May away and goes to bath, and he's like, "Aw."
Yep. I do. Again, Dad's characterization is absolutely great.
Oh, I also felt bad for Jin earlier. They didn't bring it up when after the test, May said, "I just think about the people I care about most," and it was her friends.
Oh.
And she's like, "I care about the people I thought about the people I care about most. You guys." And like a reluctant state, I'm like, "Oh, you don't care about Jin?
Oh.
He's been shown as a good guy. Come on."
Yeah. Let's see. Popcorn, I guess. I gotta look through my notes again. I'm gonna popcorn to the kids starting the rebel stage. There's a line in here that I really like. What's the point of fulfilling parental expectations if they don't trust you? I think that's a nice. I think that encapsulates a lot of what expectations that parents tend to put on their kids, and it really showed to me what in that line showed to me both the good and the bad of this film, of like of what it's trying to do, and what I think could have made this film great if they heavily leaned into that.
For clarification, is this the dodgeball part?
Oh, this is after. I think this is in the bathroom
The
scene
bathroom.
when
Okay.
when they're deciding the rebel stage because they decide that they're still gonna go. But yeah, I really liked the line. Like, what's the point of fulfilling parental expectations if they don't trust you? Because that's kind of true. That relationship has to go both ways, ultimately. And we all have our various versions of teenage rebellion. And when you have little parents, you don't really need to rebel all that much. But it's and then I like the planning kind of almost heist sequence that happens afterwards. It was a nod to that for me, where they have to neutralize specific obstacles and plan out how they're gonna make money to go to the concert.
Step 1: get our parents off our backs.
Neutralize the Empress.
Yeah, and their excuse was after school club. I think it was a good excuse, especially tying it to extracurricular. It'll just look good on the report card and all that stuff.
Yeah, I actually think that's a very reasonable excuse. I thought their plan was pretty solid for being teenagers.
Yeah. Step 2: spread the word.
Yep.
Word. And step 3: hustle using a panda, which is where my problem comes in.
A little bit.
Because at this point in the story, she was told that the more she changes into the panda, the harder it is to remove it.
Has Grandma said that to her already, or something else?
No, that was something that her parents said.
Okay.
Panda talk. And I found that quite annoying because at this point in the movie, she doesn't want the panda. So the fact that she used it constantly in the search for money was pretty annoying to me. As well with the amount of merch they sold.
That's also true.
How did they get the money for all that merch?
Oh, that was after the fact. That was after they were starting. Something I did like about this whole planning part was it does what the beginning fourth wall to me failed doing. That this did better.
I think I'll care to elaborate a little more.
Oh yeah. So when she's like discussing of like, what we do to take care of my mom and how we go about this plan, and it's like kind of slightly montaging. It's fourth wall breaking in a kind of because it's going through all these things and she's like looking forward, like I guess at the camera while explaining these things that's going around.
Or really, she's looking at her friends.
But yeah, that's the thing. She's talking to her friends in this. It's stating that she's not talking to like the audience, the people watching, but she's actually talking to her friends because at the start that's how it's shown. But later on, during this said montage that's going down, there are times where, like, I think it's when she's on the phone with her mom, and her friends are with her, and she goes like to step two, and by saying that she looks straight ahead, even though her friends are near her.
Yeah. I'd like to throw this out because I just realized it. We are past the gramophone bit, so we are now in Act 3, which
Oh, we skipped over the
ends
gramophone
at-
bit. God damn it.
Huh?
I skipped over the gramophone bit. Damn it. Or at least
if you
I
got
did.
something to bring it up.
No, I just really like the scene because it explains a lot of why Ming is the way she is.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can elaborate more if you want.
I don't really have much more to say than that. It's like
Closed, closed.
I like it because it's very. It was a lot of very quick characterization to watch her sink into the couch, essentially.
Curled up into a ball.
Curl up into a ball when Jin says like your mother's on the phone, and she just like you could see. I think the expressions were very well done for that.
I think the expressions in this entire movie were
Yeah.
pretty good. They all conveyed what was meant to be conveyed. So yes, this next act ends at May arriving at Tyler's party. Now that we got that going, Sprinks, you got a popcorn point.
The whole school is crazy for a panda.
Yeah, it's so darn fluffy.
Yeah.
I think it's a slight flaw that they never show. I mean, even Tyler, who doesn't like May, is wanting to get a photo. I think it's a bit of a flaw that A, no teacher ever finds out or sees this, and B, there's no school, there's no student that is opposed or against or just like, who cares?
I wholeheartedly agree.
Yeah. Did we also, because we're in a new act now, did we also miss the arrival of all the aunts? Or is that, no, that happens when the party
No.
starts.
Yeah, we just got off the phone with Grandma, so they're not at the place yet.
Okay.
But yeah, I agree. The whole stuff, everything at the school regarding the funds, I didn't like. So they didn't make sense to me. Like I said, teachers not knowing, no students objecting to it. There were lines in the hallway. Is this during lunch? I don't know when they would have done this. Like I brought up earlier.
After school?
This is their after school activity.
That many kids were after school?
That.
I guess that's what the extracurricular excuse.
I guess I could slightly go to favor the other side of why there was like only the students who wanted to see May as the Red Panda were there, opposed to like every single student.
Yeah, if it's after school, that makes that a little bit more sense.
Yeah.
I tried to figure out how much they were charging for photos because they should have easily had their funds by how popular this was.
I caught that. It was $5.
Yeah. So it should have been pretty easy to, because they got stuck at $600, right?
Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I think their investment into merch is where they burned more money than they probably made back because of how long it took them to make that money.
Oh yeah, the merch thing is they would still make money off of it. They're not going to sell it at the same price they bought it.
Yeah.
So even with that, they should still have profit. So I don't know. This whole raising money thing didn't add up at all for me.
I feel like, yeah. So how the raising money thing would have started is that they did the images first, and then it shows that right. They started with the images, then they invested in the merch, and then sold the merch at higher value. Yeah. I was okay with it in that there was a logical progression, I guess. I didn't take much issue with it actually. So
Well, we see that they are hand making keychains and selling them for $5. So if the keychains are $5, how much are the shirts and the fake ears and the tails and the foam fingers? There's so much that would have cost money. Like
Yeah,
$20 for a shirt or something.
yeah.
We
Like
saw a lot of shirts.
yeah, I don't think they would have struggled to reach their goal. I do agree with that. I think they would have achieved their goal long before the point that which we see them achieve it, I guess.
Because they had, I don't know when they hatched the plan, but they definitely had at least 2 weeks to do this, based off the X's on the calendar they were striking off. So it's definitely achievable, based off of how popular we saw the Red Panda.
Mm-hmm. I guess the important thing to note during this montage is we get a seat of the mom, a shot of the mom at the temple praying with an empty seat beside her.
Yeah, May's failing as a daughter right now, not doing her responsibilities.
I just took
There's something
that
that
because of the the extracurricular activities. I actually took that as just her mom misses her, not necessarily failing as a daughter.
I guess it could be true. I can believe that. I'll take it.
All right.
What are you saying, Spinks?
earlier at the part where they're making the keychains, a connection I saw, which there was another one that popped up later, but of Priya when she's talking about like having carpal tunnel, her hands are like cracking, like
Oh yeah.
I don't know what to call it, like a mummy or like a zombie
Yeah.
kind of look.
Yeah. I saw that as well. And freaking Abby was, I guess all of them were just drooling over the basketball players and stuff. Yeah, which was interesting, I guess.
I mean,
Which I guess could support. Oh, I guess could be recess as well. No, there's no recess in middle school. They're in middle school, right? She's in 8th grade.
I think she said 8th, yeah.
I mean, I had recess in middle school.
What?
My definition of recess was like, we had like 10-minute break where most of us honestly just went to go outside, walk around, eat food. Not a lot of us played, and then we had lunchtime, obviously, which was big recess. So
it necessarily doesn't have to be recess. It could just be lunch.
yeah, I imagine it would just be lunch.
I need to see it again to see if anyone in the background had food, because there were a lot of people present. So
Yeah, I mean
that's not a big issue.
Yeah, I mean, like,
it could easily be after school and they're just playing basketball.
Yeah, I mean, like, what I did during lunch is I used to play basketball. So, like, I scarfed down my food in the first 5 minutes and then played basketball for the next 20. So, that's kind of, yeah, I'm okay with that, mostly.
I guess before we're done with this whole school stuff, they brought up earlier for the excuse for going to the concert would be a sleepover. And I'm like, how dumb are the parents if they believe that?
If there was one parent who agreed, that would be more believable as an excuse. But the problem is every single parent refuses for their own various reasons.
Stripper
Yeah,
music.
well, I wrote that down. I'm like, stripper music? I think that's too much for this movie.
Yeah, that's a little adult.
I think that's too adult. It's like they could usually do it like, oh, that's dancer music, and you could imply that that's stripper or just dancing music.
You could say
Stripper,
like delinquent
too much.
Well, you know, maybe they are teenagers. Maybe that is something that you could say to them, because teens, yeah, it's not
If
horrible.
I was a parent and my, I guess, 10-year-old kid watched this and some kid said stripper music, I'd be like, I wouldn't be very happy that was in this movie for kids.
Oh, you mean that way? No, okay, yeah, no, that makes sense. I guess the rating of this movie should be pushed up a little bit then in that case.
Yeah, I just think they could have done some wordplay, because there's a lot of movies that have done similar stuff but not say stripper.
Gotta
It's
say,
dancer.
I'm gonna point at Shrek being an obvious adult comedy if you understand, if you're adult enough to understand. But it's also a lot for kids too.
Yeah,
I
so
think-
they could have worked around it.
I think a good connection, not necessarily of like adult language being said, but like adult messaging or tones that Pixar has done would probably be Soul. Because I wouldn't necessarily call that a kids movie.
Yeah, we kind of agreed on that one, Springs, didn't we? Because we kind of at least I watched that not necessarily with you, but kind of really soon after you
We
told me to
talked
watch
about
it.
it,
Yeah. Yeah, I
It's
would
just
agree.
Another Pixar movie that has been done that.
Yeah, Soul is definitely there is something there for children, but it's very minuscule in comparison to what's there for grown-ups. Because Soul is very much meant for an adult audience, which I think is good that Pixar is slowly branching out into that. I think that works for the better since all of us grew up on Pixar films. I'm kind of happy they're leaning a bit in that direction. But for a movie like this, they have to find the right balance, and I don't think they found that balance as well as they could have.
Yes. All right. I guess
Sorry.
I'll jump
I know it
forward
was,
to when the ants show up, unless you guys still
Yeah.
want to talk about
uh,
the stripper talk.
I was gonna actually I was gonna defer it back to you, Springs, because I know I kind of hijacked that Soul conversation as an example. So
No, that's fine. That was just it was I just connected that more than Shrek being Shrek DreamWorks and Soul
Yeah.
being Pixar. So Pixar's already gone down that kind of branch.
yeah, I went
Being
to,
that Turning Red came after.
got it. I went to Shrek because the humor was far more crass.
Oh yes.
Or
oh,
Cat
yes.
in the Hat.
Let's not talk about that one. That's not a cartoon.
Going to get ready to see that at some point.
Oh boy.
It's a great movie.
So I've been
yes,
told,
alright.
and I've been told the opposite too.
Well, the other way is incorrect. So just know. We're at the ants showing up. May is trying to leave Ming to go to homework. Air quotes.
Air quotes.
And
Because Tyler got the birthday party thing.
yeah, Tyler's birthday party. So the ants show up in freaking fashion. It's oof.
I mean, you understand who they are just by looking at them. I'll give the movie that.
Yeah, they got the sunglasses. They got the walk, the light illuminating them in the back. Yeah, I didn't have much in the scene really. We saw the grandma walk up past them, showing that she's like the head of the family type deal.
She is the monarch,
Yes.
the matriarch. Sorry. I think
They
it's
showed up early for the ritual because we're supposed to be there
Yeah.
by the red moon, which is on the 25th.
yeah, they showed up early
This is
because
the-
Ming. Because over the phone call with Ming, you kind of get the sense that she's disappointed with her being able to control her daughter, like because she's seeing on in the news. So
yeah.
I think something I liked about the ants coming in is to indicate like one thing off of all four of them. It kind of has a close-in shot of each of their, not relics, but each of their
totems.
pieces. Yeah, each of their totems that they're holding their Panda spirits in.
yeah. I like.
Did they focus on them, or were they just within shot? I didn't remember them
they-
focusing on them at all.
They
Yeah.
cut to like each ant, and like one was the earrings, and then the ring, the brooch, and the hairpin. I think.
Mhm.
I think one had a bracelet.
I found this. I mean, I
think
like.
the grandma's was a
I
bracelet.
like this scene in concept. The problem is it did the same thing that it had the same problem that I think plagues Lightyear, which is the ants come in and essentially interrupt character time because Mei just officially admitted that she does not want her mom to come and help them with after school activities, quote unquote. And that was so before we could delve any deeper into that, all the ants show up. And I was super annoyed by the tonal shift because they essentially their introduction ruins character work, and that's bad. It's a problem that plagues Lightyear to a T, and it was just, this is just a small symptom of it, because it's not as bad in this film, but I didn't like their introduction because of that.
This was the second time May raised her voice to Ming. First one being in the shower, which Ming wrote off as period stuff, but this one was an actual anger.
Yeah,
which would have been nice to see the repercussions of.
Yeah, don't interrupt character time with dumb shit. It's not a good strategy whenever you're working on any project. I didn't like it in Lightyear. I don't like it here. It does not make it ruins the tone of your story.
Okay, I guess I'll do another popcorn of Tyler under the bleachers. What a weirdo. You could have just come up to them. He was under the bleachers.
They make it seem like a fucking behind-the-scenes drug bust almost.
Exactly. He didn't want to be seen talking to them, I guess. Which I don't. That's the only way I could interpret it, is he didn't want to be seen with them.
Mm-hmm.
But they were invited to his birthday party, so I don't know why that would matter. I don't think it's a big issue that he's in the bleachers. It's just. It was just
odd. I know the tone they're trying to go for. Like they're making a backroom deal because they're all trying to keep everything from their parents. But yeah, I just agree that it was a little odd. Other than that, I thought it was fine, serviceably.
It's a little convenient that they're like, "Man, we're short $100," and then I was like, "Hey, I got $200 for you. How about that? For my birthday party." Hey, that's nice. Sure, I'll do that. A little convenient.
Tyler making bank, but you know.
I know. Money rolling guy, but his parents have a pretty big place, so I believe he's got $200. Well, I guess it's $400 because he went to the concert. So
yeah.
Because we know it's $200. And the mom thought that was expensive, unless it was Celine Dion. I don't know if anyone else had anything from the bleacher stuff.
Let's see. I thought this was set up for him crushing on someone in the group. Tyler. Obviously that doesn't pan out. But it's set up that I think he knows they're all 4 townies. So he's wants to get in good with them, but he also, he knows that he's at odds with Mei, who's pretty much the head honcho of the group.
I didn't think about that.
I thought that's what they were going to go with that. Obviously, I thought this was, once I realized that he wasn't crushing on anyone, I think he just wanted to be with people that, he likes the same music that he does, which happens to be them. So he wants to, get in and be friends with them before he kind of reveals that information. Mm-hmm. Obviously, we don't find out till the concert that he is a fan, and obviously he never really got the chance to be friends with them because of everything else that happened. I think that's what I kind of interpreted was going on behind the scenes with that.
All right. I just have, I guess, a question that on a topic we brought up earlier, but I forgot to bring up. So during the dodgeball, she threw a ball with her angry panda arm, went through a window.
Yep. And
the coach blew a whistle and said that was an illegal throw, and she's out. What was illegal about that throw?
She threw it at the head.
Too fast.
It's illegal if it hits the head. He didn't get hit in the head. I looked this up specifically because it bugged me that she got out for that. He didn't get hit in the head, so I don't think.
I mean, he lost his hair. I'm pretty sure they're going to count that as a head hit.
Come on.
I would call that as a head hit. Even by technicality, he lost his hair.
Well, what a lame PE coach then. It's so rare that they call him out for that penalty anyways in PE, unless the kid actually gets hurt by it.
Yeah. Protect the face,
But
ladies and
Well,
gentlemen.
what? How many teaching things does he do? Because isn't he also? He's also like the math teacher.
Is he?
Was that him? I didn't even notice.
Oh, I thought it was the same guy.
It could be.
It could be.
I didn't
I know.
notice.
I know teachers
He had
double
a
up
hat
every now
on
and
and a
then.
different outfit, so I didn't notice.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah, coaches can volunteer. This was during school, so it probably wasn't the same guy.
I would say that this scene emulates Spy X Family, but Spy X Family is the first Spy X Family manga came out before this, so its dodgeball scene is very, very famous, infamous, I should say, on my corner of the internet. So I guess there is a little bit of that in here as well.
Well, it could have been from the movie Dodgeball.
Could have been from Chicken Little,
I haven't
a
seen it.
rare Chicken Little reference.
Yeah, Chicken Little. Yeah, that's declassified. Springs, you got any dodgeball scenes? Could also be referencing.
Vince Vaughn versus Ben Stiller.
What movie was that in?
Dodgeball.
Oh, okay. The thing I referenced that I haven't seen. Darn you. All right. That pretty much covered that. I think we pretty much covered most of everything here. Oh, we get snippets of Tyler's party before May shows up.
Yeah.
That it's a drag.
Yeah, I'm like, wow, you guys are all really depressing because I don't remember any party being this like, I'm gonna put this in quotes, lame.
Yeah.
Without one specific person being there.
And Sprinks, what song was being played?
Was it Four Town?
No,
I don't recall.
the Cha Cha Slide.
Yeah, it was the Cha Cha Slide. I smirked a little bit at that because that's a classic party song right there.
Yeah, that's the blood pumping song right there.
Yeah, like I mean, even in my middle school at lunchtime, because my middle school did this. They put up speakers for just to play music really loudly. So every now and again, some kid could walk up, plug their phone in, and just play the music for everyone. But every now and again, the Cha Cha Slide would come up, and it's the one song that me and my friends who didn't really dance a lot, we all got up and did this song, did the dance together as a group in front of everybody.
Nice. Yeah,
Good
in
times.
Elementary school, for my music class, that was our warm up at every class to do the Cha Cha Slide. Doesn't really make sense since we're doing instruments, but
Hey, gotta keep limber, you know.
yeah, fun nonetheless. Yeah, we jumped to that at one point. We jumped to charades being played, where Pyra was doing this like weird Squidward dance. Is the best I could describe it. And the goth, all the friends were guessing and getting it wrong, and the goth girl just came up and said mortality, and that was the answer. That I found that amusing.
Mm-hmm. I'm impressed that Mei Mei stole the costume to go to the party.
How rebellious.
Yeah,
I didn't even think about that. she stole from her parents.
Like I said, I'm fine with it in concept, but I think her rummaging around the temple would have been noticed by her mom.
Yeah. Well, the mom was kind of occupied with the aunts.
That's true.
The grandma, so I'm fine with her getting away with that. Which strikes you? I think that's pretty much the last thing to cover. Do you have any thoughts on the aunts and grandma talk?
Mean was very on edge the whole time, and when one of her, I guess all the aunts are her sisters. So when was it Lily made a comment, Mean was very kind of snappy.
I don't remember any of the aunts' names. Yeah, she was pretty snappy. Was Lily the one where she was
on
impressed? Okay, that was her. Surprised that May was able to control it, and yeah, okay.
Mm-hmm.
The ants weren't really unique as characters. They were kind of just a collective thing.
I'm bunching them all together as a group, as a character.
Yeah, essentially. The grandma got to talk with May in the bedroom. She brought up that she found fur at some point, And I was like, so that fur proves that May doesn't have control? That could have been from the first time she transformed, and they didn't find it.
That's true. Yeah. I
So,
do like
I
the
wrote that
I
down.
ultimately like the talk that the grandma has her with her, because it's a talk about responsibility and growing up and stuff like that. All the basic good shit that you should be getting in a coming of age story. Um, but let's see. No, that's pretty much all I had for that.
Yeah, I agree. And May. And that's the end of the act, because I assume you guys got nothing else for it.
I let me just quickly scan my notes really quickly, as I do. Um, the party gets like uh
For that act, no, I got nothing else.
yeah, because the act ends with Ming arriving at the party, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, sorry.
No, no,
Do you-
no.
I was going to say what the next act was.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so May arriving at the party and ends with Jin's talk with May. Popcorn away.
Yeah.
I'll popcorn shortly to when all four girls are on the roof.
Oh, okay.
God, Pyrrha is in a coffin position. Pyra's in a
Coffin.
coffin
I didn't
like her
notice
arms
that.
are crossed, and she's just very straight.
Yep. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Was there anything else on the roof?
There's just another connection to her with the Twilight Thane, and from the zombie look earlier.
Oh,
she
like
was doing
she's
with her hand.
classic monster stuff. So like the vampire with crossed arms rising out of the grave, sort of thing. All right. Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. That's good.
Is she an Edward or what's the other one?
Jacob.
Jacob. What do you think based off all the characters we got from her?
We got the werewolf symbol. We got the werewolf question directly, so I'm gonna go with Jacob.
Thanks. You've seen Twilight.
I read Twilight. Don't do that.
I have not read nor seen it, so okay, I can give an answer.
I've seen 4 of the 5 movies.
Oh, then you should be able to easily guess which one she's on.
I think she's I don't know.
Good answer. Okay,
All right.
Bella, Team Bella.
Team herself. There we go. Actually, I found my one note from that I wanted to say when Ming found out that her daughter snuck out. I like it when she looked under the bed. You could see the lower grade dip. It was a nice detail that she's not doing as well in school. That's pretty much all I got.
Was that in that act or in this one?
Well, Ming is going to arrive at the party. She needs to find out that,
Yeah. I liked her stress. I think May kind of failed by keeping that shirt poked out.
Yeah. She would think you would have learned her lesson with the whole the notebook problem that occurred earlier.
Yeah. May's got like a whole shrine of merchandise down there. Yeah.
There's a lot of detail in that scene.
Her school papers have a B+, which shows her grades are getting lowered from all this. Yeah. The friends, I guess, technically in that regards, are a bad influence because her curriculars are coming down. Which I guess I'll jump to when Ming has the talk with May and her friends about them being bad influences. Which, at a surface level, based off what I just said, I can agree. Because there is proof that her hanging out with her friends are lowering her grade level.
Mm-hmm.
She has actively been lying to her mom, something she hadn't done before. She hasn't been showing up to prayers, and family rituals. That's the first rule. That was the first thing stated in this movie. Rule number one: honor the family.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Ming's got a lot of reasons to not be liking those friends right now.
Yeah.
Especially seeing how May is turned up at this party and how she's acting.
Yeah, and then the first thing that Ming sees is like her daughter beating the shit out of Tyler, kind of.
Yeah, she's gonna tear him apart.
Yep.
She's a 900-pound bear.
It's amazing his legs still work.
I know.
Considering she jumped at him from the roof, right?
That's true. He is one mangled boy. That would have been funny if at the concert he had casts and stuff.
Shit. But yeah, no, I agree. Like I said, I may not personally like Ming, but she is a really well-rounded character, and this is well within her character to react the way she does. She immediately blames May's friends because they have changed her from her point of view for the worse. So,
is it in May's character to have turned her back on her friends? That's my question. To both
This is the connection I was going to bring up from earlier of when Maine was outside the school telling May, like, hey, tell him it's me. I'm here for you. And May was ignoring her mom because she was with her friends at school. And, like, school was there that time. I think parallels here where her friends are on the other side of saying, May, tell her. And she's currently next to her mom, so she sides with her mom.
May doesn't want to worsen a conflict. I think if May was like with her friends rather than with her mom, I think she might have sided with them. At least I think there's potential where she would have sided with them. But May seems to be very passive when her mom's in a very controlling mood, like she knows better. Because I could point to the Devon scene. Because May essentially lets this happen to a degree. Lets that scene happen and lets this happen. So I think there's enough here for May to go along with her mom, because that to her is ultimately where her loyalties lie at the very end of it. Because, honor the family, that's what's been ingrained into her as rule number one. As you pointed out, she hasn't been doing that. And I think this is kind of essentially a splash of cold water on that realization.
Okay. This is also when May loses her pet Tamagotchi. Something I wish they did in this was show her actually playing with her Tamagotchi.
Or at least realizing that it's gone.
Yeah.
Well, and in that regards, in that scene, yeah. But, throughout this film, they could have just had her feed it or something.
Yeah, just, everyone out, like,
some connection
something
to
quick.
it.
Yeah.
But all they have it is, like, hooked on her backpack to show it was there from the beginning. Be like, hey, we did a good job. We hinted at the Tamagotchi being relevant. Yeah. But she never acknowledged it throughout this whole film.
Yeah.
Up until the point where it needs to be relevant.
Which I think is a shame, because that's a very easy thing to set up and pay off.
Very easy. She could have been in the car playing with it or something. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of opportunities. So that I thought was pretty weak, using the Tamagotchi, because they didn't really build it up.
Yeah. Ultimately, I like the sisterhood, I guess all three of them had, like what May has with all her friends in the scene, in a few scenes before, where they're when, like, she agrees to be the red panda for one last night, essentially, so that they all could go together, because they all want to go together. Like, it's not going to be the same experience,
Yeah, if one doesn't go, we all don't go.
Yeah, I actually really like that. Gives me the nice, all for one for all kind of thing.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, I like that scene a lot as well.
um, and then I
It's kind of like the school where everyone likes the panda for some reason. The moment she turns into panda, the party's like, "Oh yeah,
yeah
now it's a
yeah
party.
it starts bumping and bumping, and she
Now the
like
music makes sense to me. Let's do it."
yeah
Yeah,
she drags the goth kid and the emo kid into the dance floor together. I thought that was funny. So she's kind of playing. At least I got the idea she was playing a bit of matchmaker.
yeah. I wrote that in my notes as well. She dragged the goth kid.
Um, trying to think. I mean, obviously my favorite scene in the whole film was also in this act, but it's at the end, so I'm just kind of yes, I'm
Well,
really
it's popcorn. Go ahead, bring it up.
all right. Let's talk about the talk that Jin or let's start with the whole dinner party that will eventually lead to Jin's talk uh, with Mei Mei, because I think Jin is more or less dismissed from the conversation when he's doing dishes, right?
Uh, yeah, well, pretty much.
Um, and then he walks into like the basement to kind of drop something off and also get a little bit away from the party. Because the even for him as well, the grandma's a bit overbearing. But he finds a camera, which May, I don't know why you left this out, but
Yeah, I wrote that down. I don't know why that was down there instead of
yeah,
under her bed with all of her other stuff.
yeah,
Which I guess by this point she's under her mom's thumb and she could have removed all that stuff and put it in the basement. That could
maybe.
have been there.
Uh, we know that so this is also on ritual night, by the way. Uh,
Yep.
so I like the ultimately when after the dad sees the video, he goes up and talks to May, and I think this is probably the strongest scene of the whole movie.
It's pretty solid. Jin's a nice dad.
Yeah. Sprinks.
I think this also was a very strong scene of Jin, because earlier it's like hinted at. He's never really had just a one-on-one with May throughout. Everything's been around Main, and when he tries to put in his sense, Main kind of overrules anything he says. So without her there, he's actually able to express his thoughts and feelings to May of how he feels, of how she should go about things.
Yeah.
So
And
I thought that was very nice, and he was also he's very understanding, opposed to Min, who really just shuts her out and says, "You're gonna do it this way."
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, May even told her. Was it when she told her friends that her mom won't even look at her? Earlier, when they first found May as a panda, she said that, which I didn't really like that line because why would Ming do that? Not even hang out with her at all.
And this kind of explains that away a little bit, doesn't it?
Yeah.
With her, with the dad commenting that like you remind her a lot of herself, kind of because he explains that her mom's panda is, shall we say, big,
Destructive and large.
shall we say big. And then I like the idea that the really big, like that the grandma and her don't get along because of him, like because his mom chose to marry him, and it was very real and visceral, and I dig that. So I love this. I love and adore this scene.
Yeah, Jin's been very supportive of her when he's like, "Oh, it happened already." When they found her as the panda under her blanket,
Yeah.
He's like, "It's time. We should tell her." He's the one that pushed Ming towards that during the presentation. He's like, "Should we trust her?" He's always been for May this whole time.
Yeah, like he's really well characterized, and it doesn't come to the full front until this scene, and this is what I think makes this what turns Jin from a good character into a great character.
It's also not overused It's a very short scene.
Yep. And like I said, he's a very subtle character. So like even they take this and even into the finale, like they still use him effectively.
Yeah.
Without him suddenly overplaying his part in May's life.
Well, I think I covered most of my thoughts on the Jin stuff and that scene.
Yeah, that's all I got too. So.
Okay. A personal gripe I had was something said on the roof of them realizing the concert is on the 25th instead of the 18th.
Yeah, that was a problem. I wrote that as a
That
problem
bugged
too.
me heavily.
Especially since it's something they would have looked at more than once.
Precisely. If you're that
Well,
excited for something, you're going to look at it more than one time.
That's true. They just trusted Abby's word once on it.
Yeah.
Yep. We saw it on TV once. We heard it on the radio once, and that's within 3 weeks of each other.
As someone who
So
has
there
obsessed,
should have been more elsewhere.
yeah, as someone who has obsessed over dates before, you would absolutely double check. Especially if you're going somewhere big like a concert, you're catching a player when you're going to a con of some kind. Absolutely, you're going to be double and triple checking that date because
Even if you're sure the date, you look for the time, and even then you'll also look at the date while
Yeah.
looking at the time. So
absolutely,
it's just a fake problem. It shouldn't have existed.
yep.
Not well implemented whatsoever.
For the sake of drama, the concert is happening on the night of the ritual.
Yeah. And I wrote this down earlier, but didn't bring it up. I'll get both of your opinions on it. I don't know if I'm just off base on this. They announced the concert in less than a month to get tickets. Does that feel short to you guys? Or
Yes.
is that just me? Okay.
Yep,
No, that's short.
That's very short. Yep.
Because I feel like concerts are like a half a year or more planned typically for these big things.
I don't know. Especially like what is considered a bus tour for a band. Absolutely, those are extremely well planned out. Then again, wherever I've lived has never been the first stop for a band, so I've always had months and stuff. But if where I lived was a first stop, I wouldn't know because like that would be the only justification I would think that they only have a month because Toronto's their first stop. But I'm not even sure if that's what happened.
It's not. Abby shows the poster, and the place she got it confused with was before Toronto. So we know there's at least one stop before Toronto.
Well, shit.
So Toronto's not even the first.
Yeah.
Which they would have kept track of that stuff.
Yep.
Bad on the right. On that one.
Yeah, definitely a manufactured problem. I guess we can jump. Do I have anything else to say? Let's go back.
I'll talk about the ritual.
We will get to that. I just want to point out that Ming's mom, the grandmother, also warns. Oh no, this is before the party. Never mind. Ignore me.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess one last thing for this act that I can think of is we see the three friends get their tickets for the concert by themselves, all sad.
Yeah. As the ritual is going, or about to start.
Yeah, it pops up, and then we'll cut back to Mr. Gao talking about how the ritual even works at the dinner table.
Yeah.
Which I thought was kind of dumb that a rule was you have to sing a song, but it just has to be from the heart. It doesn't matter what the song is. Like, what ritual is that ever the rule? It's always a specific ritual song.
The
right?
only defense I could possibly think of for this is that sometimes when pastors are, really passionately preaching, they start speaking in I'm gonna call it blabbers. They don't really speak English. They like just make noises with their mouth. Um, as a kind of like sign of like I guess being touched by God, or like they're really into like the prayer that they're giving and everyone's clapping and cheering. Um, it can happen, and that's the only equivalent that I can possibly think of to the real world, I guess. But as a rule for a ritual, I'm not sure I like that. I think I would have preferred like a chosen song, whether it be ancient or ancestral or something current.
Yeah, I wrote down that the moment that popped up and he said that, I'm like, okay, they're going to sing Four Town. I didn't think Four Town was going to sing it, but I thought the Friends were going to sing Four Town songs. So I think I would have preferred it if that was just left out and it happened, and their song just happened to work. I probably would have complained if it was the other way still, but I think I would have liked it more.
You would have preferred it the other way rather than having to be a ritual. Like it now that it's a rule, I guess it kind of ruined like the surprise, I suppose, or the payoff. I guess I can get that.
Yeah, that's a factor. Sprinks, do you have anything else to act?
For Act 4, no.
Right. That's from Jen's talk to the end of the movie. Got so much to talk about. Popcorn.
Ba-ba-da. Let's see. I thought the ritual itself looked decent. And then I thought the ancestral spirit realm was also it looked good. As for the writing, I was just kind of along for the ride because it was very soft core magic system, so I was just kind of taking in all the symbolism really because I really had nothing else to say regarding the magic rules that were being applied because they were very loose with them.
Yeah, I agree. It looked good. I like the bamboo forest.
Mm-hmm.
The Sun Yi opening the portal or mirror, whatever you want to call it, for May to walk through. I like the simplicity of it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like reflection in the water type deal. It worked for me. What didn't work for me is that she walked halfway through it, looked back, saw it, and like, no, I still want you.
Yeah.
Found that very cliche and lame.
Yeah, especially when that could have been like built up, I guess. Like I think that would have worked better if that was built up because the only scene that really supports this is the scene with her dad.
Yeah, and when she looks back at her panda through the portal, and we get a series of flashbacks of her happy moments.
Mm-hmm.
I wish we saw her actually happy about being the panda. And all those scenes that were referenced, like them raising money, I just saw that as her being happy with hanging out with her friends. She could have done that without the panda.
Oh my god! Spoilers for Belle. There is a similar sequence in Belle that I thought was that accomplishes what they're trying to do here much better.
Yeah, so I wished that they would have done flashbacks of something that could have only been achieved through having the panda. Like we find out on her way to the concert that she can double jump.
She can double jump, and she can absorb fall damage.
Yeah. So if we saw her playing around with powers like that, I think that would work for the flashback because that's something unique to the panda. Or if now she can reach tall objects as the panda, it's something tied to it. All the flashbacks were just her and her friends, which is stuff she did before she had the panda.
Yep.
So, I don't know. What are your thoughts of that, Springs?
I don't think I agree with you. I think what they showed of the flashbacks of still being her as the panda is working for her wanting to have the power of being the panda.
I would agree with you that they do get the message that they intend across. I think I'm in Crimson's camp of where like it could have been executed better had they done what he suggested.
Yeah, I mean, I can agree that the message came across. Just execution could have been better.
Yeah. So that's what a lot about this movie is. It's like, there's a lot of good there's a lot of good stuff here foundationally. It just needed to be either executed better or supported better.
Yeah, and then the ritual fails, and everyone's shocked, and Ming's like, "Oh, don't worry, we could try this again." And May doesn't want that. I wish I double checked this, but wasn't it brought up that the ritual could only be performed once during the moon? And that was it.
I got the only rule that I know about that is that it could be performed during the red moon, not more than once. I never heard the once thing. So
I think it could only be done during.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll go with you guys on that one then. Yeah, and then, God, it bugged me so much when May threw her entire family back just to run to the concert.
Yeah,
that bugged me so much. She spent her whole life, 13 years, cherishing family. That her number one rule. And what she do? She shoves her entire family behind her that were trying to help her to go to a concert with her friends. I find May very selfish in this movie, and this is one of those big bolstering scenes for that for me.
Yeah, this is definitely a very epitomizing moment for that. I would agree. I don't think she got the journey to get here properly. Like, there's definitely, when you're telling a coming of age story, you need to cover you obviously rebelling against, your parents or whatever rule of law is or holding you back is typically a standard when it comes to coming of age stories. But because she was raised to believe family was everything, this is a flip that happened really quickly. I think like a way that could have been achieved better is if we were shown that May fully believed that her mom is at fault for the fact that she doesn't have friends, or her friends left her, because we never really see her digest the fact that her mom pushed her friends away. And I think if we got a scene or something to hint at the fact that has been bugging May, and May is still angry about that, I think that would have better supported her pushing her family away. Because I think the concept of it is good, but the road to get here is what's wrong.
Springs popcorn.
Tyler is a Fort Townie.
Yeah, Fort Town for life.
Yeah. I actually kind of like that. Because, people are fans of whatever they want to be. So I know I have friends who are boys who liked boy bands. So that to me was just a nice nod to them. So I like that.
I thought it strengthened Tyler's character a little more of why, even though he did quote unquote dislikes May and her friends, is still always like around them.
Yeah, because he wants to be friends with them. At least, like I said, that's kind of where I drew once I was rewatching the film, I kind of saw that scene underneath the bleachers a little differently, knowing that he's a Fort Townie. That's why he approaches them and why he still, pokes the bear, or the panda in this case, just because, he wants to be friends with them. But being a young teenage boy, we don't really know how to communicate that. So
earlier when Tyler was putting up posters and the friends were saying he told everyone about Devin, May even said Tyler's just an insecure boy, plus some other things, but insecure is what I remember.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was correct in her reading of him. But now, do you think they're going to be best pals now? They're going to be in a friend group after this?
I mean, if they make a
kinda
sequel,
are.
I would expect him to be at least slowly incorporated into their friend group, not necessarily there from the get-go.
What'd you say, Springs?
They kind of are at the end when they meet May at the temple. Tyler's a part of the group.
For karaoke? At the end?
When they pick him up,
Yeah, when
maybe,
they go.
yeah.
Yeah, when they go to pick up May, Tyler's there.
Oh,
Oh, I don't remember that.
that's
I
kind of
guess
sweet.
he is now.
Yeah, there we go. Got a bit of payoff, I guess.
Good for them.
Yeah. And then Four Town starts playing, and I think one of my favorite shots is when they all have the anime eyes looking up at their beloved Four Towner.
Shocked. I'm absolutely shocked. Springs, are you shocked?
No.
What? I like the anime eyes. I mean, you guys read my work. You know how valuable I like body language, and like I focus very deeply on the eyes because it's the window to the soul, that sort of thing.
Also, this is the most emotion we see out of
Tyler.
Korea.
Oh, that's true. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then we have we cut to Godzilla. Oh wait.
At some point,
Stick
yeah.
Puff.
Any kaiju.
Yeah.
That shot was very cool. I liked how it looked, and then was thoroughly disappointed once we saw what she actually looked like
Yeah.
out of the shadows.
Yeah. Yeah. I also wrote down that she killed thousands of people because there's no way that stadium cleared out underneath her in time.
Oh, no.
Thousands of
She was
people.
not walking gingerly. She was not watching where she was going. She was going straight there.
Yeah, she thousands of people are dead both on the way to the stadium and in the stadium because she just walks the fuck in and jumps down and crushing the ground and sending shockwaves everywhere. Yeah, thousands are dead.
Where were the police sirens? Where were the
There's no
car
police.
alarms?
There's no police.
This
There
is
was a
this is
giant
Los Santos
monster
and
through
she
the
has
city.
Lester. All right.
Yeah, we don't have police. We just have news coverage.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, this is Canada, so you know.
Also, a little Easter egg I kind of found in the concert scene is Devin is at the concert too.
Yeah, he is.
I did not see Devin at all, so I can't comment on that.
Doesn't it, now that you know that, does that bump your rating up a 1?
Who, me?
No, right.
Oh, I'm like, why would that
Since
move
he
my
missed it.
rating?
It's amazing. The attention to detail, it's awesome.
Well, I think it's like cool that he was there. I think it makes it worse that the girls crushing on him never knew he was a fan of Four Town.
Maybe that's why they crushed on him or started to.
Possibly.
Four Town with the angel wings was interesting. I don't know how the wiring went because we saw them later hanging from one wire, but right?
We don't see the wiring at the beginning because they're too caught up in like the emotional swell of seeing them.
Yeah.
They're on separate wires, but it's one beam.
Yeah, they're on the same
I
beam.
mean, one wire per member is what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so on the part where they're like moving forward past the stage, they're like at an angle, so they would need more than one wire. I know this is very nitpicky, but I'm throwing it out there anyways. The rigging for these angel suits suck.
Yeah, they
Not realistic.
fair enough. Yeah.
No, observation. I guess, Ryder, if you want to jump to the gym scene to hop around.
Well, I think I want to get through the May's speech first. That she the fact that she loves gyrating or whatever.
I thought that was a good emotional.
I'm not your
Yell at
little.
her,
I'm
Mom.
not your little May anymore. I lied, Mom. It was my idea to hustle the red panda. My idea to go to Tyler's party. It was all me. I like boys. I like music. I like loud music. I like gyrating. I'm 13.
13.
Deal with it.
Deal with it.
I my opinion on her monologue here is, I personally don't like it. It sounds like what a 13-year-old would say, though, especially in the heat of the moment. So, irrelevant of whether I personally like it, I do think it fits. If I were writing it, I would have probably polished it a little more, but I think you get something from it being such an off-the-cuff kind of almost grating and annoying 13-year-old teenager way that this is delivered.
I don't like the gyrating part or the I'm 13 deal with it. The rest of it, I think, works.
I would have put, gyrating.
Because
Gyrating is super unnatural. I would have put, I like dancing. That seems so much more simple to say when you're ranting emotionally.
I
Everything's
think-
just to get back to our mom for saying that earlier.
Yeah, that's why I think it did work. Because it was not without thought. It was all just raw emotion
Yeah.
being spilled out. So I think it worked fine.
Okay.
I didn't like the 13 deal with it because, as I said earlier, I see May as very selfish in this, and that just bolsters it even further.
Yeah. It's
But-
yeah. I could
As
agree.
a whole, it's fine
Um,
in that regards.
Yeah. I also got to point out that the fact that she starts distracting her mom, and the dad, absolute Chad over here, was about to be called useless by grandma again, and he's already drawing a giant chalk circle for them to do the ritual in the stadium.
I don't know why that stadium has chalk. It doesn't look like a sports stadium, but I'll take it anyways.
Oh, I think it's a
'cause
sports
Jen
stadium.
is cool.
Yeah, I do think it's a sports stadium. People convert sports stadiums into concert stadiums all the time.
They just take the turf off.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess I'm fine with it.
Yeah, so I literally wrote dad over here being a fucking absolute Chad. Doing what he has
Not
to.
wrong.
Yeah. He was on it before anyone asked it of him, and I like that. It's in character, I think, as well.
But yeah, the family man. Trying to help his wife.
The twerking scene.
Why? The worst bit in this movie. A 13-year-old girl shaking her butt at her mom. Are you kidding me? That's the climax of this? Oh my god, I hated that so much.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, do you think they would have done that if she wasn't in Panda?
No, absolutely not.
Do you think they even considered what they're implying with this?
Yeah. This is a
It's the
very
same
this
thing
is a
as,
very
like,
pathetic
Abby-
attempt. Yeah.
Motorboating her. It's like they don't think of her as a 13-year-old when she's in a Panda form.
This is a very pathetic attempt at capturing culture, I think.
Oh,
Okay.
that's definitely what they were trying to do. I didn't know too many people twerking in 2002, but
Yeah.
I wasn't paying attention in 2002, considering I was 4.
I will say that I don't think it was a thing until TikTok and Vines were a thing.
So yeah, terrible. Even as a stalling tactic for her mom, I hated it. They could have done something else. Unless Sprinks, you think it's justifiable because the whole gyrating stuff from earlier.
I
Just further pushing it.
I didn't necessarily like it, but I think it still fits with May's character of just continually irritating her mom of who she is and how she is. So I think it's just over exaggerating, because I don't think normally she would do that when it comes to gyrating and dancing. It was just over the top to her mom to get her mad.
Mm-hmm.
If you had a choice to replace it, would you?
No.
Okay. Yeah. That's all to get Ming into the circle that Chad Jin threw up. And That's during the circle being made, right?
Mom Squad
Yeah.
first, because I think the twerking makes her fall backwards and like she's
Oh, that would cause her to get out of the circle.
yeah, it knocks her out, and then I think that's when the Mom Squad breaks out and they'll
Mom Squad. The ants freak out, turn into pandas. Red
Yep.
pandas.
That was pretty cool.
uh
I was
One of them-
hoping that they'd be in different sizes. They were all fairly similar in size,
One of them
except for May.
was Naruto running, which was a bit weird.
I didn't see that.
That
I'm
was
glad
funny.
I didn't see that.
That was funny. It is weird though. I like that all the moms bust out their pandas to help. I think certain movies do this payoff better though.
I can agree. I think it's enough. And I don't think all of them together would be able to pull Mom back into the circle after she
Yeah.
was knocked out. I'll say that.
Yeah, that is not enough. No, I agree with that. Unless they like, I don't remember them ever saying something about they get the strength of like 20 men or something like that or whatever.
The only thing we've seen of Panda's strength is her throwing that dodgeball through the window.
Yeah, and the flashback of fending off an army and the weird,
and the super jumps.
yeah.
Yeah, I was hoping that they'd be different sizes because when they're all lined up pulling at the tail, May looks pretty small compared to them. But we see a scale between May and Ming, so I feel like there should have been a better representation of the potential scale
Yeah.
between them all. Like it would have been funny if one of them was an actual sized red panda. It was shrank to a normal red panda.
Yeah. Now, I think that would have been more interesting if they chose to go that route.
Yeah, and we got Gao saying the ritual. Everyone's singing. It's not loud enough. And Miriam gets Four Town to sing with them. Which I wrote in my notes, where the heck is security? They left.
There's
the
no
stars of the
police officers
concert.
here. Remember, so I doubt there's any security.
Security for Four Town. Who else is going to fend off all these crazy fans? They just left the stars to die hanging from.
You know, maybe all the security died in the 1,000 that were immediately wiped out when her mom arrived at the
That's
stadium.
true. All security got wiped out in one step.
Yeah, they were getting ready, and then they all died.
Yeah. Yeah, ritual works. Soup. Anyone want to popcorn anything? Because we're kind of going in special order here at this point.
All popcorn that I thought it was very cool looking of May leading her younger version of her mom through the bamboo as she was aging.
Yes, I also wrote that down. I like the visual of that, and I also think it was helped give the theme a little bit more as well.
I mean, this made Ming up there fighting with Jenna my favorite character in this.
Yeah,
I really liked it.
so did I. Very, very powerful.
Yeah, it was solid. The only, I guess, knock I had is why she was represented as her younger self in this plane of existence. Because none of the others.
I can only think that's when the age she got her panda removed.
Well, we know all the others, aunts and grandma, definitely had theirs removed younger, right?
Well, yeah, I think there's a possibility they all did start at that age when they got here, and then they aged like Ming did, because they all met up in the center.
I'll have to accept
But
it
the
because we didn't see
mirror.
anything.
Yeah, we can't explain one way or the other because we don't see what happens to the others.
Yeah.
I did feel the resolution between Ming and her grandma and May's grandma was a little rushed. although I
Felt
do,
the same.
although I do like it as a, I guess it would have been a nice bow on top of the story if it was really well, if they had built up to it a little bit more. I do like the scene. I just felt a little rushed. Yeah.
Yeah, we kind of established a relationship where they haven't really like talked since the whole, I guess, scar on the grandma, which would have been around when Jin and Ming probably got married, or at least were in a long-term relationship, which means it's been at least 13 years since that problem, and it got solved in one sentence, pretty much.
Yeah.
Which is a little unfortunate, but it was fine. Could have been better.
I
Guess, oh, go ahead.
no, I think I don't really have much else to say about I guess the ancestral scene.
All right. Well, we can talk about Sun Yi, I guess, a little bit. Her portrayal. I liked that she didn't talk throughout this.
Yes, I like that as well. I think I don't know. It services I guess the mystical sense a bit more with the fact that Sun Zi is not talking to anyone.
Yeah, and I like how she turned into a panda. Shows that she kept it even in the afterlife.
Mm-hmm.
Unless if you die, you then live with your panda. I don't know. Doesn't really matter either way. Found a little dumb that she looked like she had a crown on. Like she's the queen of the pandas.
I mean, she was the first. I mean, that's
Just a graphic design nitpick, I guess. I didn't particularly like. Well, that's pretty much that surface level. Sprinks, what do you want to talk about? I guess the ending roundup, the narration stuff.
I think it was weird that when Ming went through the mirror, she was still able to talk to May,
That's
and didn't
true.
just like all the other ants.
yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
all the other ants, and then May the first time as well, failing her circle.
mm-hmm. It was definitely a little odd.
Yeah, good point out, Sprinks.
Also, when they get back to the temple, I don't know the significance of a blue jay, but the blue jay from earlier in the movie comes up again.
Was it there earlier? I didn't
Yes, it
notice
was
that
at
earlier.
the school, I believe, earlier. There's a blue jay.
Well, a blue flying creature. Chloe Price.
No,
Oh.
I doubt that's the connection. But yeah, I don't know the significance of a blue jay.
Yeah, I can't provide anything on that one.
But it does appear twice, so to me, it wasn't just an animal for a setting scene. It has something. I don't know.
There's some significance to it.
Yeah.
And
then
when you said the school scene, is it the first one where we get like introduction to the friends, or first period day?
I think it's first Panda Day. Because you don't see the outside of the school. She bursts open the door with, her two hands. So I think it's later when her mom drops her off in the car.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just a symbol of a new chapter in her life. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
Should've written the exact date, or exact time.
Yeah. I mean, oh fuck it. I'll look up I'll look up blue jay symbolism meaning real quick.
Maybe pertaining to Chinese folklore. You were going to say something, Sprinks?
Yes, the narration, as you said, for the ending. It's better because it's already been shown, from earlier, so it's not as bad, but it's still odd that it's used now. Again, I mean, it's just odd being used when throughout the whole middle part of the movie it never came up. Other than, I guess, the whole funding montage of using the panda at school, but that was differently used, which I think was the better side of it than the beginning of the movie.
That was her talking to her friends, not talking to the audience.
Yeah. Spiritual Spiritual meaning of the Blue Jay. An exciting new adventure awaits you. Go forth and capture it with passion and authority. Yeah, that
that's
seems to
kind of
fit.
close.
It beams of assertiveness, aggression, know the scope of its powers and its wit. Symbolizes great inner fire and passion waiting to be discovered. So, yeah,
All right.
I think that
Well,
fits.
then yes, it was definitely used on purpose.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm kind of happy since they decided to stick in the narration that it was just the beginning end, because I
Yeah.
don't think it would fit anywhere else in this if they were to try to use it in the middle somewhere.
That would not be true. She narrates to herself, don't look at the notebook, don't look at the notebook, don't look at the book.
Well, that's her talking to herself, not the audience.
Yeah, that's in her thoughts.
Yeah. So you mean narration specifically for the audience?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, the fourth wall breaking.
Okay.
Because, like Spring said, they narrated the montage technically.
Yeah.
That was her talking to her friends about the plan.
I think the dad putting on the panda suit was a nice touch to him, like taking over May's job.
Yeah. He's helping out with the family now because he can.
Yeah.
He was always helping.
Yeah. I mean, he always was, but now he's helping out with the business itself. Like we never see him working at the temple. So, I mean, I assumed he was, because why wouldn't he? But
he probably made the snacks.
Yeah.
The tourist food.
I find it weird that the family it must have been the same night with Four Town, but the family all took a photo with Four Town.
I wrote that down. They took a photo with Four Town, went to print it, and then went back to get it signed.
Yep.
Weird.
So I guess that they got him on speed dial, or they mailed it in.
I mean,
I don't know.
I mean, I would probably want to keep in touch with weird people who can turn into fucking giant pandas. I'm like, that's oddity. Sure, I want your phone number.
Yeah, so I saw that as well.
We know the mom is also saving up money to try and repair the stadium.
$100 million.
Which I think
is going to take a while.
Which I think is a nice nod to the similarity she still has with her daughter, because her daughter also did the money chart. Very similar.
See that parallel?
Um,
Well, she's lucky she's not arrested or in some government hole getting experimented on.
yeah, and that would be... Yes.
That entire family, pretty much.
Yeah.
I guess more springs for that photo. I don't know why the grandma and the aunts would take the photo.
I just think it's weird that the mom, that Mean's there, because Mean hates Four Town.
Four Town saved her from herself.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it probably I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say that Jin made Ming do it.
Probably, I can believe that.
Because, you know, as we find out in the end credit scene,
do it for May.
Yeah.
Okay, Jin.
Yeah, I think I will go on a limb and say Jin is responsible for that one, because I think it is well within his character, considering what we see at the as an after credit scene.
True.
Yeah.
Because he's a Four Townie.
He is.
I mean,
they saved on the goggles.
They saved his wife. I would be a fan after that.
I guess. How did you guys like Four Town as a music group? How did they do?
They're no Chip Skylark.
I mean, didn't really hear much from them, so I just shrugged. I'm just gonna shrug at that. Nothing.
Really?
I don't think they ever finished
a lot
the song.
of songs.
They didn't.
I don't think they finished, but they had a lot of singing in this.
There was a lot of singing from her friends. I don't remember a lot of singing from them specifically.
The dream sequences, or the daydream sequences, the montages. I think even the montage of them planning had a Four Town song in it.
Oh, was that supposed to be Four Town playing? Okay.
At least that's how I took it. All the like boy band songs playing in the background was them.
Well, I mean, maybe in that case, then yeah, I think they did a serviceable job. I didn't feel like any of it was out of place. They're not like, I'm not going to download this soundtrack or anything anytime soon, but I think it was serviceable for the story. So
also, Springs, you don't really care for me. You're the music guy right now.
No, I didn't really care for these songs. Yeah. As they never finished one. It was just kind of the chorus of all these songs, and
never really got to hear the full song.
No.
Do you guys like any boy bands?
Uh,
Any era?
I think I had like a phase. It's not One Direction. There was one before them. Like it was like the pre One Direction band that I somewhat liked. I had like a few songs from them.
Jonas Brothers.
Yeah,
Jonas Brothers.
that's funny. So I have liked a boy band. My phase didn't really last very long because I listened to more music and more music and more music, and you know they just kind of faded into the background because I liked other music better.
I don't think I've ever really gotten attached to a specific boy band, but a single like song from boy bands. I like.
Backstreet's back. All right.
Well, for Backstreet Boys, it's "I Want It That Way."
Yeah,
I
that's
want
good
it that way. Yeah.
stuff. Yeah, I'm in agreement. I don't think I ever was into a band. Just maybe one-offs that they had.
You know what? I know a boy band of 4 boys who did music that I do like.
Oh, CRISPR Lines.
I'm gonna go with. It's
No.
funny. I'm gonna go with the Salts band, the Saltzman band.
Big Time Rush.
Does Queen count?
Well,
No. You should feel ashamed of yourself for even dragging them into this.
Does Aerosmith count?
Oh, it's boys, and they got a band.
Okay. Just gonna do one more perusal of my notes. Anything you guys got for this final act and
That's-
the movie
that's
as
it.
a
I mean
whole?
the only on the nose one is the My Panda My Choice. I think.
Yeah.
I'm.
Unnecessary.
I don't think that was necessary. I do think they conveyed the message well enough without them having to explicitly say it. So I think them explicitly saying it bugged me a little.
I mean, it's just one of those things that it's a thing now, but in like 15 years, it's going to be dated and unnecessary.
Mind you,
It's just a
this is
markdown.
supposed to be in 2002. So
Yeah.
it's not really a thing back then. And obviously I support the message. I just don't think it was necessary to kind of go so overt with it because I thought the story supported that message without them having to explicitly state it. And for me, if you have to explicitly state the theme of your story, you have no faith in your own writing. So
Yeah, I agree. I had that written in my notes. And let's see. I guess I only got 2 things. One's real quick. They referred to that whole concert bit as the Panda Apocalypse.
Panda Apocalypse.
2002. Yeah. So it's a recognizable event, bolstering why there is no police activity moving further. And we didn't really talk about her friends accepting her again with the Tamagotchi and stuff. So what were your guys' thoughts on that?
I'm okay with that. We're fairly forgiving as children typically. So I would have liked something more of a resolution between them. But they're obviously here to kind of celebrate something they all love together. So that kind of overrid any character work I would have wanted, because I mean, you're at a concert. You're gonna have your resolution talk not there. So ultimately, I think I'm okay with it. I think a nice scene. I mean, like the scene with them all going karaokeing together at the end, I think is enough to know for me that their relationship is repaired. Whereas like Four Town is like they still care about each other, you know, because that's what friends always go through rough patches for long friendships. That's what happens. So I'm okay with it ultimately.
Strix, what do you think?
Of the movie as a whole,
Well,
No.
no, specifically the friends reunite scene.
I thought it was fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Not much- I
I
mean,
mean, say
nothing really
both. I
happened.
thought it was fine. I still thought the Tamagotchi was weak, but
Yeah,
Tyler's that earlier,
I do
so-
agree. I do agree. The Tamagotchi part was weak. It would have been paid off better if, like they just set it up more. So
I think a nice little post credit scene they could have added is May going back to the destroyed stadium and putting $200 there since she didn't pay her way in
That would have been funny.
because it bolsters her responsibility. I think that would have been nice. Okay, yeah, that's it. That's the movie.
Oh boy, oh howdy.
Sweet.
Turning
All right.
red.
Turning red. Oh boy, did my face turn red a couple times in this though.
The rage.
Yeah. The rage, the cringe. But yeah, I guess we'll go with our mini summaries. I guess. Starting with you, Ryder.
All right. I think this movie had a lot of potential. There is a lot that is functioning here character-wise. I got enough from all the characters where I understood what this movie was trying to go for. Obviously, I think it lacks the flush needed to be a very impactful coming of age story. I uh I don't know. I really liked the movie in like I guess what it was trying to give off. I don't think I'm going to personally watch it again, recognizing that this movie is not really I'm not the audience intended for this movie. That being said, my mom doesn't like the movie, and I assume that she would be intended as a part of the audience. But overall, this movie was better than I thought it would be. And as I said, I enjoy all the animation, the anime nods that they made in this film. I thought the animation in some parts of this movie were very, very striking, and then in other parts it was just felt like by the numbers Pixar, I guess. So overall, yeah, I was okay. Fine. It was a fine movie.
All right. I guess I'll go next. I went into this with a negative mindset, but open, as I usually am. And I was also surprised that it wasn't a train wreck, as I expected it. It was a fine movie. It's something like if it's on TV, it's possible I could watch it if someone else wanted to.
Yeah.
If I have the remote, I'm changing the channel. But if someone's like, "Can we watch this?" I'm like, sure." So yeah, that's kind of how I feel about it. I like. I think all the characters work. I don't think there's one I disliked at all.
Mhm.
Felt that their parts. So, yeah. Thumbs up. Spricks.
I think this movie was fine. I agree with Ryder that I was not the targeted audience for this movie. I think it's very cool that Pixar is branching in testing the waters of all these different fields. They did it with Soul. They did it with Luca. They're now doing it with Turning Red. And I don't see it as a bad idea or a bad thing since they've had a going of quite a lot of movies for quite some time. I think every character with Crimson Sane is consistent to what they are, and they don't necessarily change other than May. May's kind of the only one being the protagonist that has quite a couple jumps of her personality, but everyone else I think sticks to it.
Mhm.
I didn't necessarily think the music came out very not really seen. And that goes for both the boy band and then the just score in the background and all that. I think the most interesting thing for me to catch was coloring and how the color red and green and tints of yellow and like just each character had kind of their own set color.
It's a very vibrant Toronto. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was very cool. Being in animation, cinematography was it's always to me kind of harder to rate cinematography or animations. But nothing was too jarring for me. One that I thought was very well done was it wasn't necessarily a shaky cam, but when May was running to the bathroom after turning into the panda in the classroom, it was focus
Like a-
pointed to her head.
So like
Yeah,
Sure.
like
we
a
followed
tracking
her.
headshot.
Yeah.
And I thought that one was very good. And it wasn't over the top. It was just there was like 4 or 5 different scenes from her from the classroom to the bathroom, and that was just one of them used.
Mhm.
I didn't care for the narration at the beginning or end. I thought it was fine for the montages of stated. Yeah, I think that's about it
On
for
to
summary.
the ratings
Da da da.
with shocker writer first.
All right. I'm as always. I think I'm gonna start with my subjective. I fully understand this movie's not made for me. I'm not the target audience. I think that's fine. But I didn't hate the movie, and I'm kind of in the same boat with you, Crimson, where it's like if it's on, I don't have I won't really feel compelled to change it unless I am in full control of the remote. So if someone else is watching it and it's like and I just happen to walk in, I'd be okay with sitting down and sitting with my family to watch it. Um, I and like I said, I also like you, Crimson, I kind of went in with a kind of a thinking that this was going to be a bad movie, but with an open mind, and I walked out having an okay time. So I think for subjective, I'm gonna give this a 5 out of 10. My objective, it's got its problems, but mostly, I think the character work is good. I think the plot, while contrived at times, maintains a through line. The world building's a bit iffy with how the magic system works. But as always, the most important aspect for me is characters. And while I do think they stumble and fall every now and then, overall, I do think they get the characters right. And I think the messaging is at times overbearing. I think sometimes characters make stupid decisions that, for the sake of just inciting drama and causing chaos, which is Ming, Ming showing up and waving her pads out, waving the pads out, is for the sake of just inducing drama. I think that. I can't be overstated enough. I love Jin a lot. May's father is a wonderful character, and his characterization is done mostly behind the scenes because he's not a overbearing parent like the mother is, and I think they play off that dynamic very well. So when it is time for Jin to be like at the forefront, it takes all the little small characterizations of him and puts them all together, and wraps it all in a nice little bow, I think. So for his one scene with May, and you get a real sense of what the family dynamic is now, with Jin being the last piece of that puzzle, being the caring father and the loving husband. I think the grandmother is appropriately overbearing in the way that Ming is. So like we know where Ming gets all her character traits, and we know why Ming doesn't like her. And it's because they both have the same personality, and being the matriarch personality, they butt heads all the time, and that's what typically tends to happen. But I do like that ultimately that they're a family and they do come together when they need to, because that's always a very important message to, I think, convey in your stories. Especially when your target audience is children. So I think objectively, I'm probably gonna give this a 4.5. I do think this movie is slightly better than Lightyear. And I know that's not going to go over well, but that's what I think. So,
Well, it's good to have differing opinions.
Yep.
All right. Well, I shall go next. I'll start with my objective. Something we didn't really touch on too much was the visuals, the graphics. I think it looks amazing. It looks very good.
Amazing.
Amazing. Haha, Overwatch reference.
Yeah. Oh, we all just got locked in the spawn room again.
Yeah. Yeah, the visuals were great. I liked, even though it was very over the top, expressive. I think it worked with how much they used it. It wasn't too little where it stood out as that's weird. It teetered on where it was too much, but I think they got a decent balance on it. May is probably the weakest part of this for me, where she, like Sprink said, she's the most bouncy character, I guess. Everyone else was pretty on point for the most part. She was just unlikable in several moments in this film for me, which is unfortunate. Jin Ming, I liked. I wish there was more between those two.
Yeah.
Specifically, we didn't get too much. We got like breakfast and the presentation part, but that's not much of them two together. That's kind of just an avenue to talk to May, pretty much. But overall, I think Grandma is pretty cookie cutter. She's not a very unique character. That's like the standard Grandma, I think, or overbearing Grandma. Because there's typically two. There's the overbearing, or there's the you want some cookies, you need some food, you're looking skinny. That's usually like the two
Archetypes.
cartoony grandmas. So I think she fit that archetype. The ants, I think, were fine. I don't think we needed them to be unique to each other. I think they played their role enough. I like how during the last ritual, I like the mesh between the old ritual song and the band, the Four Town song, combining the old and the new. Yeah, because it doesn't necessarily mesh well, but at least they made an effort, I think, the audio mixers. And I think they did a good job with the band itself. It felt like a 2000s boy band. It felt on brand in that regards. So, I think it was pretty well constructed overall. I thought the messaging would be way beat over the head, but I think they did a good balance of it for the most part. There were two parts that bugged me in particular, which were highlighted. I think overall this was handled well, so I think 6.5. I think is fair for objective. Subjective, I think I enjoyed this as much as Lightyear. I gave Lightyear a 6, I believe. So I think it would be fair to give it a 6 as well for all the aforementioned things. It wasn't annoying. Characters were mostly likable. Just, I don't know, well-rounded average film.
Yeah.
And then to fill in for Sinister, since he's not here, he did give me his rating, and he'll elaborate it more on our season 2 review or recap. He gave it a 4, so I guess tune in for the recap once we get to that. And Sprinks.
I'll start with objective. I think the film knew what it was doing in its story and plot. I don't think it was very smooth, though. The most jarring thing to me in this film was the jumps, and there was. I pointed out a transition because it was one of the only few transitions that I thought was fine. Because a lot of it is very kind of jarring to me, of jumping between the family and magic panda powers and then the relationship with the friends and Four Town concert. And going from scene to scene on which one was the focus, to me, was just not smooth. That being said, I didn't think what the scenes were bad. I think some of the characters could have been fleshed out more or had a little more. I think it would have been cool if the friends didn't always have to be packed in three, and if May had like a one-on-one with one of the friends, or if two of the friends were talking or something, like not always either all four of them or the three friends grouped up. I think that would have been a little stronger of the friends' personalities. I think Tyler was overall fine, being kind of this jerk, but then reasoned why that was good. I agree that Jin was probably the best of his background being made of his character, and then the sit-down talk. I think the ants were okay. It's interesting that when the grandma said I'm bringing reinforcements, that she only brought the ants. And like no cousins, no uncles, no other family members of any kind. I think Mean was very well done. Other than I think the over-the-top exaggeration she kind of did of going to the convenience store to approach Devin or attack May's friends. But then doing it twice shows just that's the character of who she is. I think making Mean a huge, gigantic Godzilla-sized panda is a little over the top, just to give some kind of drama or look. And again, that's kind of another thing the dad hid, or I guess the family hid, of like how huge she was, because back in the time, I guess believing during the sit down, Jin said that the discussion between Mean and the grandma was of him. Like he was a problem. So if she was that huge back in the day, I think at least there could have been connections, because I'm sure that was, I don't know, a good time estimate, 25 years maybe before the events of today. So I think newspaper articles or something would have connected the huge giant panda that would have obviously been seen and not hidden to the panda currently running around. Maybe it was in a different town of where they met, the parents met or something, but I still think there would have been a connection there, especially since the media coverage and news seems to be the only outlet of sharing with no police force or security anywhere. I think the subtle messaging of what they're trying to get about becoming a woman is nicely done. I don't think it's over the top. The scenes talking about it were throughout the movie, but I think it was good. It was fine, almost to the point of being kind of pretty much educational. And then I've already, through my summary, kind of stated of how I viewed other aspects of the film. So overall, objectively, I'm going to give it a 6, because it's not a bad movie, but there are definitely things and scenes that they could have done to strengthen it, in my opinion. Now, for subjectively,
I gave a higher objective than you. It's crazy.
Subjectively, usually for my enjoyment, as we all kind of said, this movie was not targeted for us. And overall, I still think it was a good movie. And my subject and objective usually don't play hand in hand with each other, but because of the things in the objective I gave was how my enjoyment of this movie came out. So my subjective is also going to be a 6.
Okay. Kind of reflecting your Lightyear one where it was 8-8.
Yeah.
You got a special Pixar parallel, man.
This was just very... It was a fine movie. Could have been better, and again, could have been a lot worse.
Oh, definitely could have been worse.
Oh yeah.
Well, I guess that wraps it up.
Yeah, so I mean that's Turning Red. As always, please check out our socials. You can find our podcast on Spotify and Google, and also our YouTube channel, if you can believe it. We and yeah, we shall see you in the next video.
Yeah, next time you're at the Daisy Mart, go up to that 17-year-old guy and tell him to listen. If he's just gonna have a launch shift and not go to school, he can listen to a podcast.
Yeah.
If he can do drugs and not use suntan lotion, I think he can listen to a podcast.
Yeah. For sure. As always, I've been a geeky writer,
I'm Crimson Maroon.
And I'm Sprinks.
and we will catch you in the next video. Goodbye.
Toodaloo.
Bye.